argument that happened when the report came out. And here's how. For those of you liberals out there whose heads are about to explode, here's how this works in the American legal system. You're innocent until proven guilty, and Mueller said he had no evidence of any guilt. Therefore, Trump was exonerated. So Mueller doesn't get to erase the legal definition of exoneration simply because he says so. That's not how it works. Trump is correct. He was exonerated because he's presumed innocent, and there is no evidence of his guilt. Mueller didn't say, I had some evidence of his guilt, but not enough that would convince a jury. He said he couldn't find any evidence of collusion at all within Trump or his entire campaign. So there is no doubt legally that Trump was exonerated here, and people can play word games all they want, but that's just a legal, tenable fact on the U.S. legal system that he was exonerated with this.
Yeah, that's right. I think, the other piece of it, too, I think is to me, I think Chris Wallace was right today where he's spot on. It does not look good for the Democrats, this just dog pony show. And then for Bob Mueller also, I respect him as his service to this country and stuff, but this to me just really tarnishes his legacy, and what happens beyond this is it's almost like it's the same circus, different clowns, right?
Sure. And here's what I think is funny about this. So Mueller basically left D.C. in disgrace and then was resurrected as this hero and man of integrity simply for this report. People forgot that he basically was a disgrace and was considered such for a long time because he ran the FBI horribly. There's numerous scandals. And then I was one of the only people. I was like, did everybody forget who this guy is? And they're like, oh, he's a man of integrity. No, he's not. He's Robert Mueller, for crying out loud. We spent the last several years blasting the guy. So
yeah, but if you think about it too, that's kind of the MO for the left, right? Is let's erase history, let's rewrite it, and figure out how can we write a narrative going forward that fits the path that we want to travel. Sure. And it's mind-boggling to me how the base can tolerate that sort of thing and just forget where we came from, or forget, just wipe it out. I don't know. I don't get it. But.
Yeah, I don't. Adam Schiff doesn't look happy. I don't know what was said. I was just watching it on TV in here, and the second hearing is just kind of wrapped up. But Schiff looked really irritated, and Mueller looked disinterested in even having a conversation with him. So it'll be interesting to see what was said there. But Eric, I appreciate the call. Right. Thank you very much.
Keep
Take care.
Up the good work, brother.
All right, I appreciate it. So I was on my way into work today on the motorcycle, and I passed a road. I don't know what road that was, and they had what was that?
It's like McKinley and Capitol, and then another road in Capitol.
Basically right at Capitol. They had a Jeep that was blocking off the lane, but he was allowing people to go around. So you went around, and you kept heading down McKinley toward Mishawaka from Elkhart, and then all of a sudden the fire trucks had the entire thing blocked off, and you had to turn around. So, by the way, guy in the green Jeep, thank you very much for telling everybody that the road was closed ahead, which you did not do. So I appreciate all of that lack of effort. But anyway, we are hearing that whole thing is still down because of an accident. There's a power outage over there. I'm looking at text messages, and people are talking about the lights being down and people just having near misses trying to turn around and deal with all of this. So be careful and slow down, and understand that if you have to turn around as a result of this accident on McKinley, that other people have to as well. So just go slow and double check everything, and stop cutting in line just because you think you should go first and all of that stuff. A lot of people are saying that there's several near misses as a result of all of that stuff. Stoplights out at McKinley and Capitol and Jefferson and Capitol. People are driving like idiots. There were 3 near miss collisions while I was sitting there waiting for my turn. So again, just be careful there. It's been closed down for at least an hour and a half now. Okay, so just avoid that if you can. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
So it's my fault. I'll be right back. Grab some more coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when the police vehicle hit an SUV driven by 76-year-old Terry Wentworth of Mishawaka.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
They were both pronounced dead at the scene. The trooper involved in the crash is hospitalized for non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation investigation is ongoing.
Okay. Okay. Nope. Michiana's News Channel, would you like to talk to Casey? Where at?
Year's legislative session. The House and Senate are not named in the lawsuit, but Chamber's leaders have hired Indianapolis attorney Susan Zeller to represent their interests because they're seeking to intervene in that complaint. Indiana's attorney general typically represents state agencies and offices in suits.
Okay.
House Speaker Brian Bosma and Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray says that isn't workable in this case.
Guess what else is backed up, Casey?
I'm gonna go with Dragoon.
No. Dragoon's closed, Casey.
Damn. That counts as a backup?
Yeah, well.
Gee, I wonder how bad is the bypass today?
No, about 2 miles.
2 miles, huh? What's up, Anthony?
I closed out X screen because I'm trying to fix it on my end. Just so you're aware. Hey, I fixed it.
Did something happen with the stream? Was there a hiccup or something? Sorry. Did you redo the call screener to get the phone lines right?
I did say, hey, close out X screen so I can fix it on my end.
You just said it?
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't listening to you.
Gathered.
Arg.
Summer heat. Cut it for crisp salads and fresh fruit plates.
What?
Conditioning professionals' first warning forecasts.
Another gorgeous day for this Wednesday, with temperatures warming up to 78 degrees. Winds are a little bit calmer today, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, underneath those clear skies, temperatures will.
Is there a Durka gif on
Thursday followed up with a high
Facebook?
of 82 degrees and mostly sunny skies. In the AB 77 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Kennedy.
This is Hoosier Ag Today. It's the Wednesday closing farm market report, and corn, beans, and wheat, along with many commodities, work the plus side today. But the corn market could not hold on to gains and finishes very flat. But we do have some ground in soybeans and wheat. On dry weather now and in the forecast, September corn goes to $4.24, down a penny and a half. December $4.30.
Dean's got a fake news flash.
March corn also down 3/4, down to $4.39 3/4.
You saw the 3D printing video? Oh, really? So you're watching the live stream and all of a sudden it kicked you guys to the 3D printing video?
And the Novi contract, 908 1/4, up 4.5 cents. September wheat, 497 3/4.
That's interesting.
December up 8.5 at 506 3/4.
Very interesting. All right, so do you all want a world exclusive? I don't know. What do you think it is? What the hell did I talk to you about yesterday?
That's like exclusive that no one knows yet, that thing.
Pokey?
No. Not Pokey.
Not Pokey. Okay. Well, now I'm totally lost.
Well, give me a second. So, is yours Pokey?
What? All right.
I spelled it wrong, but.
Oh, no, it is not that.
Okay.
No. No, that hasn't been lifted yet. I can't tell anybody about that.
Okay.
Thank you. I was like totally confused. All right, hold on. I'm going to show you all something, but it's going to be super quick, okay? Super quick. There you go. That's it. Right there.
That's it.
What you showed them?
I showed them a new Pokey prototype. And now it's gone!
Is it the Pokey prototype you showed me yesterday?
Nope, because I revised it. No, it's not the pen. Yeah, no, they've already seen the pen. They bought all of the pens. No, this is me, Pokey. Me Pokey. I should call it the Me Pokey. Or we could just call it Prom Night. Alright, here it is. You ready? One more time! Ooh, Shizzo Dizzo.
It lifts higher, reaches further, digs deeper than any skid steer, and is the safest on the market. Curious about JCB products or in the market?
How much is the pen blade? They are, I think they're 65.
To replace that older equipment you're
Yep.
currently running?
One, you're paying for an out-the-front automatic knife that's dual action. So, that's just how it works, unfortunately. They are expensive for me, and they are expensive for you. But it's also a tactical pen, and it's a really good pen that's refillable. So it's not like it's ever going to run out.
Well.
Very.
Here.
Safety's on. Right with it. Right.
Oh, it has a safety.
It has a safety, and it has a safety cap. So you can actually put a cap on her if you're extra paranoid. No, it writes very well.
I don't like the grip. Grip's a little stuffy.
Pass the dip it.
We're more than fast, more than signs, and we're more than ready to help. Contact Fast Signs today.
Fast Signs in South Bend on Mishawaka Avenue, east of.
Is it full semi-automatic? It is just high capacity. Full bore high capacity. It's a nice pen, right?
I'd love to take this.
Poke person, don't be sexist. There you go. And just for giggles, we just show you my... For those of you who are new... God, I love this pen.
Knife accessory.
And it's sharp as hell. Like, for a little knife like this, yeah, it's actually sharp. It's not dull and stab-worthy, but it's actually sharp. So
make sure that you have it out before you try to stab someone.
Well, that's general of OTFs. It's a safety feature. It jumps off the track.
She writes, Dear Sue, my husband and I used to have a great life in the bedroom.
I mean, it's sharp.
In the last few years, he has
Actually
troubles.
sharp.
He's tried about everything.
Usually these little knives aren't that sharp, but that one is.
He came home and gave me a night I will never forget. He told me about this secret formula, Noxatril, that changed our life in the bedroom once and for all.
How does it do going through TSA scans? Anthony, buy one and let me know.
It's the only one.
That is, I've had that question, I think, 8 times since I first displayed it. Yeah, can you get it through TSA? And other people are like, I think I can get it through TSA. I'm like, all right, try it. Let me know.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxatril.
You let me know how that goes.
Call 1-800-551-4182.
Thank you, Roger.
That's 800-551-4182. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800.
All right, one more time.
That's 800-551.
Thank you, Sherry. Photo like. Here it is. That's it right there. Boom. Now it's gone.
This is Casey Hendrickson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Let's see. What do we have here? Casey, I believe that Hillary is having somebody poison Mueller so he can't think straight. I don't know what to say about that. McKinley is still a mess. McKinley and Capitol and Jefferson and Capitol, lights are all out there because of an accident, which was on McKinley. They actually had the entire road closed about an hour and a half ago. So just avoid that area if you can, and you should be okay. All right, Casey, what the bleep do the Democrats care about breaking the law? They do it regularly and can't understand why others won't on their behalf. Okay, got that. I mean, it's an interesting hearing. I really want to see what happened between Mueller and Adam Schiff, because Schiff did not look happy. He looked a little miffed and or irritated. A little bit later on in the program today, we'll revisit this in the 5 o'clock hour. I didn't cover nearly enough of it, but we'll play the Matt Gaetz audio. Matt Gaetz essentially held his feet to the fire on that. So, all right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. President Trump also tweeted out, thank you to the Democrats for having the hearing, by the way. So I don't think he's bothered at all by what is happening. Okay, I want to talk about Pete Buttigieg. And in particular, I want to talk about the interview with Pete Buttigieg and a country music radio host. Now, this ended up becoming national news yesterday, and there is now a so-called conspiracy that Cumulus is silencing Pete Buttigieg. So Brian Stelter over It's Not News at CNN, Brian Stelter again writes stupid columns just like he does stupid things on his show. Pete Buttigieg interview on country radio was silenced. So Blair Garner, host of a nationally syndicated radio program, taped an interview with 2020 Democratic candidate Pete Buttigieg in Nashville last week. The idea for it came from the Buttigieg campaign, and Garner was pleased for the outreach. Since country music tends to lean in a conservative direction, I was surprised to get the opportunity, Garner wrote. But more than surprised, I was extremely flattered. One of the few truly viable candidates in the race raised his hand and asked for a place at the table, and I was willing to give him that seat. By the way, good for Blair Garner for doing this. I would have also given a seat to any other viable candidate from both sides. Now, keep in mind, the Buttigieg campaign reached out to him, okay? But if you want to hear the interview, you'll have to look up Garner's personal SoundCloud page. Garner said that he was told by somebody at his employer, Cumulus Media, that he could not air it on broadcast. So he posted out on Twitter. He linked to the interview, and he has a picture of him posing with Pete Buttigieg. He says, my interview with Pete Buttigieg, the only candidate who asked to be on my show. My employer decided I couldn't air it, but I did get permission to post it on my personal SoundCloud here. And then he links directly to it. Now this decision by Cumulus is generating a lot of attention via stories from the Huffington Post, the Washington Post, other news outlets. Basically, a bunch of people super butthurt about this on social media, saying that Cumulus is a conservative company and they are censoring Pete Buttigieg. This is an incredible act of cowardice for companies whose slogan is where every voice matters, says Kurt Bardella, the publisher of a daily country music email newsletter, The Morning Hangover. He was in the room for Garner's interview with Buttigieg. In an op-ed for USA Today, Bardella wrote, I hope the executives at Cumulus take the time to actually listen to the whole conversation, reconsider their directive, and give Blair the go-ahead to air his talk with Mayor Pete. Cumulus, however, says that it spiked the interview because of federal rules that mandate that radio stations provide equal time to political candidates. Cumulus's Nashville programming managers made the decision not to air Blair Garner's pre-recorded interview with Mayor Pete Buttigieg because of the large number of political candidates currently in the race, the company said. Now, you got Dylan McLemore. Cumulus's rationale is flat wrong. Now, he's a media researcher and communications professor. The equal time rule is indeed widely understood to not include bona fide news interviews, even by entertainment hosts like Garner. Cumulus knows this, so what's the real reason, he wrote. All right, so rather than have a bunch of partisans talk about it, I am going to bring up an article that came up in Radio Inc. magazine, which is an industry trade magazine, on this coming up next, and just kind of tell you what they say about this whole situation. Next on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3.
Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
All right, somebody says Twitch is down. Did Twitch go down? Blue sent me a message and said that Twitch was not working. It was working just fine.
Today, with temperatures warming up to 78 degrees. Our winds will be a little bit calmer, about 5 to 10 miles per hour.
Oh, it's working now.
Tonight will drop down to about 56 degrees for the overnight low underneath those clear skies.
So it is working now, Blue.
Up those windows. For Thursday, we warm up to 82, mostly sunny skies, and we hold on to all of that sunshine for Friday. Temperatures will be just a touch warmer, topping out near 83, and then we're back up to 84 on Saturday with a mix of sun and clouds. For Sunday, we'll start to see a few more clouds move in for the second half of the day. Our temperatures will warm up to 86 degrees. And while we're sunny and still warm, we're going to see our temperatures and humidity start to climb. In the AB 67 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Kennedy.
The station to turn to when the weather turns bad.
Don't try storm chasing at home, and if you live in a mobile home.
So I guess it was everywhere that it crashed then? Okay. Yeah, I wonder what happened there. I don't know. I do not know what happened there. Okay. So I have a couple of things to ask of you guys. All right. I want your genuine recommendations or advice. One, it would be much easier for me to get that knife manufactured if I did a pre-sale. Would any of you be interested in a pre-sale to go ahead and get that done at a discounted rate? So the knife would be slightly above wholesale for people who pre-ordered it. Would you be interested in something like that? So I kind of use like a crowdfunding thing to fund the full production line. And then if you get in early, you get it right above wholesale, like wholesale plus 5%. The second thing, so let me know if that would be something that you would be interested in, legitimately. Let's see. The next thing, what the hell was it? Ah, crap, I don't even remember what it was. I was going to bring something else up, and I don't remember. Oh, well, it'll come to me.
If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678.
ABC News said impeachment's over after the Mueller testimony. Interesting.
My name's Dave Titus with International RV in Elkhart, Indiana. You know, one of the things that we see
Dean, that was funny.
Whether they can actually afford an RV or not. They see these big things going
I'm working on a 3D print right now. So I printed the knife and then some handles the other day, but I've just tweaked the knife, so I'm printing the knife as we speak. It should actually be done. But if it comes in good, looks good, I can show it to you tomorrow. It's a fixed blade, by the way. And for the record, when you pre-order, like, you'll probably save 50 to 60%. So quite a bit, just so you know. The quote that I got from the initial quote was very, very good. So, and that's with me doing the hand grinding and everything else. So I would be making the knife; they'd just be cutting the blanks. But next is to get a quote for actual manufacture. So it could be a production knife as opposed to a handmade knife.
As people in other countries. Sometimes it's a fraction of what we pay in this country. Our prices are
so Alex would be good. Might be interested if the price is right. I mean, we would be talking under 50 for it. Okay. So if I do the grinding on it, it'll definitely be under 50. With the production, it might be closer to 50, but I'm hoping to have it a lot less than that. So I'll have to see how it works. Right now I'm leaning toward just getting the blanks cut and then having me finish it.
Stand up to the big drug companies and stop the greed. Cut prescription drug prices once and for all.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It won't be too bad. I'm not looking to, have $200-$300 knives or anything like that right now.
This month, I got a letter from Sandy in Seattle about an explosive bedroom secret she and her husband recently discovered. She writes, "Dear Sue, my husband and I used to have a great life in the bedroom, but in the last few years, he has struggled. He's tried about everything, but nothing has worked. Then one day he came home.
That's nice, Roland. Good to hear.
I'll never forget. He told me about this secret formula, Noxatril, that changed our life in the bedroom once and for all. Wow, Sandy, you beat me to it. I recommend Noxatril to every guy that struggles in the bedroom. It's the only one. Noxatril is all natural and works to increase blood flow fast. It's like that little blue pill on steroids. Noxatril has a special free bottle offer. Shipped to
It's the little blue pill on steroids.
While supplies last. Call 1-800-551-4182. That's 800-551-4182. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-551-4182. That's 800-551.
Yeah, he wouldn't admit that it was a waste of time and money. Why would he? He got paid a lot of money to do it.
Exclusively on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. Was Pete Buttigieg's interview censored by the conservative Cumulus media? Well, let's go to Radio Inc. magazine. This is one of our industry traits, okay? So John Garziglia is the one who wrote that. An on-air personality in your radio station pre-records an interview with one of the many presidential candidates to broadcast on a regularly scheduled interview program. Must your station afford equal opportunities to all of the other presidential candidates? Remember, Cumulus said that they were concerned about that. This situation just arose in the case of presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg, where station management made the decision not to broadcast a pre-recorded interview based upon potential FCC equal opportunity obligations. Let's see. As described, each situation of whether or not to air such an interview is a judgment call for this aspect of the FCC's political broadcasting rules, assuming that the segment falls under the exemption of what the FCC calls a bona fide news interview. The decision whether or not to broadcast the segment is entirely reposed in the radio station licensee. Let's take a look at the general situation of political candidate interviews and where such broadcasts might trigger the obligation to grant airtime under the FCC equal opportunity rules to opposing political candidates. Generally, any time that a legally qualified candidate for public office is on the air in a reasonably identifiable way for 4 or more seconds, that appearance is a use, which may entitle opposing candidates to equal opportunities, which were often referred to equal time, okay? Clearly, a political candidate engaging in a long-form interview with a station air personality is a use, but certain uses on bona fide news types of programming are exempt from equal time or equal opportunities. The news types of programming in which a use is exempt from equal opportunity obligations are bona fide newscast, a bona fide news interview, and a bona fide news documentary, and on-the-spot coverage of a bona fide news event. So if something breaking is happening and you happen to be out there and you're interviewing one of these people, maybe they're in office because of that event, as opposed to promoting their campaign, that is different than considering promoting their campaign, okay? All right. To assess whether a news interview program is bona fide under the FCC's political broadcasting rules, the FCC primarily looks at whether the purpose of the interview on the radio station's part is to advance an individual's candidacy. The FCC assesses whether the format, nature, and content of the program are based upon the broadcaster's good faith, journalistic judgment. The FCC also looks at the circumstances that initiated the interview, who produces and controls the interview, and whether the interview program is regularly scheduled. Again, Pete Buttigieg's people reached out to Garner to do the interview. To take an extreme example, if a political candidate who is a friend of the radio station licensee was to drop by the radio station studio unannounced, as a radio personality is voice tracking the evening show, who interviews the candidate by only asking, "Why are you running?" lets the candidate drone on for 5 minutes uninterrupted while she gets coffee, and the segment later is broadcast on her mostly music show. That does not generally broadcast interview segments. The opposing candidates in the same political race would have a good argument in requesting equal opportunities. On the other end of the spectrum, if a political candidate is invited based upon newsworthiness to appear on a regularly scheduled radio station program in which various notable people are routinely interviewed, and the interviewee keeps control of the interview through the questions asked and the subjects discussed in such a situation where the radio station is in full control of the content, opposing candidates would have a next to impossible task of making a claim for equal opportunities, even if none of the other candidates were ever invited to appear. So, essentially, what he is saying is, and by the way, we're so far out from an election too. By the way, that Cumulus, the legal repercussions for Cumulus may not be there. I will say that I've worked for radio stations before, where we're going on the assumption here, because I've not heard the interview, that Blair Garner was asking Pete Buttigieg questions and was maintaining an interview. Therefore, it'd be next to impossible for his political opponents to also claim that they have to be on Garner's program. So as long as he's controlling it and not allowing Pete Buttigieg to basically do a commercial for free, then he should be okay. And Cumulus's warnings seem to not entirely hold water. But I have also worked for radio stations before where a lot of the candidates have frivolously made an equal time claim, And that leads to a whole host of harassment and angst and time, money, effort put into providing proof and things like that. So is it possible that Cumulus simply said, you know what, we're just going to do the equal time thing and we're not going to bother with this? Sure. Were they in legal jeopardy of airing the interview to deal with equal time opportunities? Probably not. But is it also possible that Cumulus didn't want a country music syndicated radio personality to get involved in politics? Sure, and they just gave the equal time argument as a simple one. So censored, no, because they allowed Blair to promote the interview, just not on his radio program. But it's been a very interesting topic nonetheless, and actually we had some questions about it and had to get answers for it yesterday as well. Got more coming up, 95.3 MNC.
WTRC FM and HD1, Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
Yeah, it's hard. It's going to be one of those things that confuses people because it's confusing to us. And one of the reasons that I even got involved in this is not because Buttigieg was involved, but it was because of what the media person was saying, because they were saying some things that weren't accurate. And even though the Cumulus reasoning may not apply here, what they were saying also wasn't true. So I was looking more into the component of what they were trying to say would be the reason that Cumulus was wrong, and they were going with the Cumulus as being biased angle, whereas Cumulus could have very well just been looking at this and going, look, we just don't want to deal with candidates claiming equal time. We don't even want to deal with it, which I can appreciate because, again, I've been there where candidates have frivolously tried to claim equal time. They had no legal rights, but then you've got to pull all these files. Okay. It's a mess. So Cumulus might have just said, nope, not going to deal with it. And like I said, legally, would they have been possibly held in violation? Probably not. But they just looked like they just kind of washed themselves of it without having to deal with any harassment.
As soon as I can. West of State Road 19 on the bypass.
What?
The backup. It's west of State Road 19.
On the bypass. Can you put the bypass one in there for me? Because I forgot the bypass one. So the article in Radio Inc. kind of ended this way. Even if a candidate's interview appears to fall on the bona fide interview side of the exemption to equal time. So basically, meaning the interview would not be subject to an equal time complaint from the candidate's opponents, okay? Even if it was a totally legitimate interview, you could air it, and the station and the radio host and everybody are totally legally compliant. A licensee, meaning the station, may choose not to broadcast the interview because it does not wish to be the subject of an FCC complaint arguing that equal time opportunities were merited. And that's what I was talking about. I've been at radio stations many times where candidates tried to say that equal time was not afforded to them, even though they didn't qualify for equal time. And it is a hassle for everybody. So Cumulus, I can appreciate Cumulus looking at this and going, one, country music station or country music program, let's not get involved in the politics of this. And we certainly don't want every other Democratic candidate coming out and going, you have to give us equal time on this, because they will have to defend that against each individual complaint. And they'll win. Cumulus would win, but they would still have to deal with the harassment of arguing each and every one of those complaints, which they probably just don't want to devote the energy to. No, YouTube does not have to abide by FCC regulations. Neither do podcasts or cable television, okay? Yeah, Rogan doesn't have to. What I have said is that with people like Joe Rogan, we may want to look at the possibility that podcast interviews fall under those equal time rules. And, you know, the equal time rules have been kind of changed and manipulated to where it's really difficult for candidates to even make the claim that there's an equal time violation when it comes to interviews versus advertising. But we may want to see something like that because there's a lot of podcasts that are hugely influential. And if they're only going to push their own candidate, then that could qualify as, you know, free advertising, a free commercial, that sort of thing. So there's some interesting things that may have to happen technology-wise with all of this.
Weather served up by the Prime
Table. Start your morning routine with the Prime Table. This week's breakfast specials: all French toast breakfasts are half off from 6:30 to 10:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Wake up and go to the Prime Table in Niles.
So just for let me make this as simple as I can make it, okay? With the equal time. If you are free television and you're free radio, you have a public license to broadcast with the FCC. And basically, those television and radio waves belong to the government, okay? They're not privately owned. The government allows private enterprise to use those signals with a license. To get that license, you have to meet certain standards and qualifications, and annually you have to provide proof that you have met those standards. And as long as you do, you're good. But then people can complain to the FCC that you have violated your broadcast license, and then investigations happen. And if you did violate your broadcast license, fines come into place. The possible loss of your broadcast license, which means you're out of business, you're done. All of that happens. That doesn't work with cable television because they're not beholden to the FCC regulations, because that's privately held airspace, if you will. So it's not public airspace. So because we operate in the public airspace, we basically have to get permission from the government to broadcast, which is our license.
And your dentures will be placed at the same time. You won't be
I know it's very confusing. It is confusing to us, especially since the rules keep changing. But hopefully that last bit makes it a little bit easier to understand.
At 277-2220 or visit appnet.com.
The sand gets hot. You gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand.
I don't know that Pete Buttigieg has been on with Rogan. I'm not sure. The issue with Rogan was that he had Tulsi Gabbard on right before her election. So he's within the election window. Even though he is an interview show, if he were to be under FCC regulations, then, or even FEC regulations, you know, it could have been problematic. But he's not, so it's not. You know, Rogan did not do anything illegal or wrong. It's just that it was crystal clear he was promoting a candidate right before the election. So that's usually where you get your equal time complaints, is right before the election.
Industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News
Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You are going to be totally shocked by this. The bypass west of State Road 19. Is this westbound too, or no?
Westbound. It's the same situation as
yesterday. So the bypass westbound, west of State Road 19, is still a mess, as it is pretty much every day. And so just avoid that if you can, pretty please. I don't know about the McKinley thing. That has been going for a couple of hours now, but McKinley was shut down because of an accident that was also causing power outages in the surrounding areas. So like McKinley and Capitol, Jefferson and Capitol, they didn't have lights on. So treat those as four-way stops if they have not been repaired yet. And please let us know if there's still a closure on McKinley. But again, the bypass westbound, west of State Road 19 is all sorts of backed up. I heard for a couple of miles. So just avoid that if you can. All right. What do we have here? Do want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get half off your range time. So kids shoot for free today with a shooting parent. And tomorrow is the Defensive Pistol Open League night. So go out to Second Amendment Arms and Range and have yourself a good time with other shooters. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. All right. What do we have here? Okay. This is an interesting question that I got. Casey, are you going to talk about the Erica Thomas thing? Okay, part of me wants to because she spread fake news. All right. And if you don't know who Erica Thomas is, you'll find out here in just a second. The other part of me is, I don't care about blue on blue hate crimes. I am at the point where I have decided, if you will, that I no longer am willing to defend crazy people when they get attacked by their own side. All right? So, in other words, if you are a deranged individual who goes out there and spreads conspiracies and calls every Republican conservative racist and everything else, if you're one of those types and then all of a sudden you're getting those accusations lobbed against you, I don't care. I'm not going to do the whole, well, we're going to stand up for what's right no matter what. I'm not in that camp anymore. I'm just not. Now, I'm not going to pile on the individual who's being falsely accused, but I'm not going to come to their defense either if they are falsely accusing other people. Basically, I'm just going to let them eat what they have been, basically shoveling down other people's throats. So, again, that's my philosophy, okay? I get that there's these so-called moralists out there who just want to tell everybody that, no, it's our job to be the nice guys and the consistent people and to go out there and defend those who are unjustly being criticized, even if those people will never defend us. I don't care. I let them eat their own. That's just my philosophy. So now we've got this woman who is a local state representative, not here in some other state, right? So this Erica Thomas lady, she's pregnant, happens to be a black lady, and it's only important because of what she said. Her race is generally not important, but it is important because of what she accused another individual of doing. The curious case of alleged grocery store racism incident that ignited a firestorm of controversy involving Georgia State Representative Erica Thomas and Eric Sparks, a Latino Democrat who looks like a pasty white guy. Now, he says he's Cuban, okay? But he looks like a pasty white guy. So basically what happened is she's in a grocery store and she claims that some white man came up to her and told her to go back to where she came from, which is obviously a spin off of what the president did with Ilhan Omar. And again, it's not exactly what he was saying, but, that's the narrative and the spin that's been put out there. So she goes out there and she's crying on her Facebook. She's doing this whole thing about how some racist white guy called her a bunch of names and told her to go back where she's came from because, again, it was a racist white guy and how dare he. So over the weekend, Thomas equivocated on her initial claims, telling WSB TV, he said, go back. Those types of words. I don't want to say that he said, go back to your country or go back to where you came from, which is very different than what she said in her initial video. So her initial video said, he told me to go back to where I came from, which is automatically racist in spite of the fact that it could be perfectly innocently used to describe a whole host of scenarios that have nothing to do with somebody's race, okay? So that's what she was doing. She's crying on this video and everything else. So anyway, she decides that she's going to have a press conference about this outside of the grocery store, and she's going to get everybody on her side. And then she rolls up to the news and she goes, the guy who did it is here. The guy who did it to her was actually at the grocery store at the time she went back to the grocery store after the incident happened in order to do the interview, in order to inflate her own political career. And so this guy, who appears to be a pasty white guy, we end up finding out is a Cuban. He comes up and he says, I didn't tell her to go back to where she came from at all. I did call her a lazy B word. So do you know why he called her a lazy B word? Because she went into the express checkout lane with too many items. All right, that irritates a lot of people, okay? This guy is a deranged anti-Trump Democrat. If you follow his social media, you look at his social media, this guy hates Donald Trump, hates Trump supporters, frivolously calls them racist and everything else, which is why I don't care that he's now dealing with those same false accusations against her. So he gets in front of the camera and he basically calls her a liar, and she backs off. She backs off of her initial claims, and it turns out that we had another witness come forward, and that witness said, I never heard him say that. I'm not saying that it didn't get said, but I did not hear him say that during the encounter. There's 4 witnesses in the store who apparently saw this. Now a witness has come forward today and said she's the one that said it. So we've got one witness who says, well, he definitely didn't say it and I didn't hear it at all. And the other witness says she's the one that told him to go back to where he came from. He didn't say that to her. So the whole thing was a fake hate thing. But people have been asking me about it. I haven't talked about it. And the reason that I haven't talked about it is because he's out there on his social media falsely calling people racist. So I don't care that he's falsely been called a racist. Let him deal with it. Now, he dealt with it, by the way. I felt that it was funny and appropriate how he dealt with it. I wish that he would now take this life lesson on how you could falsely be accused of this sort of thing and now apply it to his rhetoric towards people that he disagrees with politically, because he said she's just accusing me of being racist because she wants to advance her political career, which is absolutely 100% true. Now, she did have a retort to the whole lazy B word line as she was putting too many items in the express checkout at the grocery store, which for many of you is an executable offense, by the way. She's pregnant. So from her perspective, I'm pregnant, therefore I get to do whatever I want, which is another problem with a lot of people in our society. They just use the pregnancy thing to go ahead and walk all over people and break the rules. So that, again, people have asked me about it. I just got a bunch of text messages about it here earlier today, and I don't care that the guy is innocent. I believe that he is. I applaud him for defending himself. I just wish that he would now use this lesson to go ahead and going forward, change the way that he behaves on social media himself. But blue on blue hate crimes, I just don't care about. Generally, that's why I wasn't speaking about it. Ben, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hey Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. What's up?
Nothing. He kind of took all my thunder now.
Oh, did I? Great. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I was going to fill in a few little details, but you did eventually cover it about the fact that he was saying, hey, you should not be in this line.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, what it sounds like to me, and this is only my interpretation, he said something to her, and I've had on occasion, and I don't do it that often, but if I see someone who's obviously in that express line with like 40 or 50 items, I say, hey, you may want to go. And one time I had somebody, really get nasty with me.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it happen to people as well, where they say, you know what, come on, we're trying to get out of here. You've got a full grocery cart, and then that person jumps down their throat, which is kind of what I interpreted her to maybe potentially do. And then he just like, you're a lazy bee.
Right, exactly. And now and then when I found out that he himself is a left winger himself, and,
like rabid. I mean, and he said it in the press conference. He's like, I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I'll only vote Democrat going forward, even after this. But some of his posts on social media, like he's a deranged liberal. Right. So like, I don't care. Let him deal with it then.
And the unfortunate thing about this is that when she looks at him, and yes, you're right, he does look like a pasty white guy.
He does.
And I'm thinking,
you can't say that. Only I can. I'm white. You're not, right, Ben?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If I remember from our previous, I can call him a pasty white guy. You can't call him a pasty white guy.
Okay.
I'm joking. I don't care.
Right.
Go ahead. All right.
Okay. Anyway,
hate mail directed at Communist Joe, not to me.
That statement. Anyway, and she probably obviously said, "Oh, here it is, a target." She's a local political state rep, and right away she sees this target and she goes right after this guy.
Yep.
Come to find out that, hey, you know what? Politically, I'm on your side. But she's not even thinking about that. She doesn't probably even care. She just sees that he's, again, that phrase what you just said he was.
I don't care if you say it. I was just harassing you, and I know you know that. But
I know.
And the thing is that, so she posts this thing, and I'm sure she got contacted by the local news. She may have reached out to the local news, but they're like, we want to do an interview with you about it. So she had a whole press conference set up outside of the store to do it, and I was watching the news story, and the reporter that was out there to do the interview says, as we were setting up, she drove by and said, the guy who did it is here. So they went and found that guy. So had she kept her mouth shut, he might not have embarrassed her on television, and maybe this wouldn't be a national story.
And and she also backed down from it.
She did.
She said, "Well, that may not be exactly what I said, or I said maybe something like that, or So
she was lying, and she knows she was lying. He confronted her about it. She backed down in that interview, and now there's 2 witnesses who are contradicting what she's saying as well. So, but she saw that opportunity, man, and why not? If I can go ahead and stand on the back of somebody else and get some political traction out of this thing, let me do it.
There you go.
There's a lot of folks that do that now. It's unfortunate, but like I said, people are asking me, I was getting this a lot because they're like, hey, this guy was falsely accused. And you're right, he was, but he's also a crazy person, and I don't really care. So,
right.
But that's just me. Hey, Ben, it's always good talking to you, bud.
You too, bro.
All right, man. Take care. All right, we got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Oh, God. Okay. Fair enough, Attila. Fair enough. 10 of the same item is still only one item. Lies.
This evening will be beautiful with temperatures in the upper 70s, but overnight we will cool down quick with a low of 57.
Justine Smollett. Oh, God.
Humidity starts to increase on Friday with highs up to 83 and mostly sunny skies. And by Saturday, it'll be hotter, 84 for our high, with a slight chance for a couple of showers and storms and increased humidity. Sunday will be the hottest day of the week.
Blue, are you talking to somebody? I don't see Burp on Twitch. And I don't see any comments there.
I'm meteorologist Erica Warburton.
The top news stories.
Multi-millionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein pleading not guilty to 2 sex trafficking charges.
Are you talking about the knife being a present for your daughter, Blue? Is that what you're talking about?
Epstein's accusers were inside that courtroom when he pled not guilty.
Children who are enticed to do all these things at the hands of a man more than or nearly 3 times
If convicted, they face up to 45 years in prison.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
We've all been there before. Equipment malfunction can wreck your plans and shut down your office or facility. Let's be blunt.
Damn, Alex, that's a pretty detailed narrative.
That comes with commitment to excellence.
It's almost like we've heard that one before.
Let us help you from the start. Upgrade or repair your current electrical system.
There, okay, I talked about it. Now people can leave me alone. I talked about it.
Using advanced tools like thermal imaging cameras can help us identify issues that haven't even popped up yet. We even provide 24-hour emergency service. Ask yourself, has my business grown beyond our current resources? Are we pushing our electrical setup too hard and running the risk of shutdowns? Does the lighting in my facility create a safe working environment for my staff?
Oh yeah, the other thing that I wanted to say.
574-522-4444.
Indian Reed coming out of the break. Oh, I saw somebody on an FTR today. Oh, so nice.
Let us take the guesswork out of your project and help you sleep easy. Find us on Facebook or visit finalphaseelectric.net.
Hi, my name is Shelby Rosenberg. I'm in pre-owned sales at Lock Money Motors. I wouldn't say that my job is easy, but what I would say is it's very rewarding. I know hundreds of vehicles inside and out. I will walk you through your vehicle and help you out with some of your paperwork. But at the core of
yeah, but you had like 10 of each of those 3 or 4 items. That doesn't count. That's cheating, man. That is cheating.
If you've dreaded the car buying process or felt uncomfortable buying a vehicle, come see me here at Lock Money Motors. It's going to be easy, smooth, painless, and you may even have fun. Lock Money Motors,
I should do a poll.
Used cars, trucks, vans, and
is 10 of one item still one item?
Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Buick, and GMC models on the market. Basically, we have it all right here in person or online at lockmoney.com. I'm Shelby Rosenberg. I've been in sales at Lock Money Motors for over 3 years. Lock Money Motors, a tradition of caring since 1954.
10 items equals 10 scans.
Americans are
well, you got to scan them 10 times, don't you? Or are you going to count the person who just does the one scan and then puts in 10 for the total?
Companies are making Americans pay twice as much for prescription drugs as people in other countries.
Sometimes it's a fraction of what we pay in this country.
Our prices are so high.
Funny stuff.
Actually have to choose between buying medicine and buying food for their families.
Americans pay more so that other countries can pay less.
It's absolutely ridiculous that the big drug companies say that
I finally got my supplies today. I got to make somebody an outside the waistband holster for their Bursa. And I finally got my supplies. They were way late. But they finally came. So Yay.
Now is the time to stand up to the big drug companies and stop the greed. Cut prescription drug prices once and for all. To learn more, go to aarp.org/rx. Paid for by AARP. At Menards, we're committed to helping you save big money on home improvement, and that's why nobody beats
there we go.
prices.
That's what I was looking for.
It's easy to install and perfect for creating borders around planting beds and landscaping materials. Right now, get a 40-foot roll in black or brown for only $14.99. Sale prices are good through Saturday, August 3rd, during Menards Red Hot Sale. Save big money at Menards.
This one huge mistake makes you unhireable. I'll tell you what it is Thursday morning.
Thank you, Denzel Ward. I appreciate the like. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595. 95.3. That is 2595953. So I had something awesome happen to me today. I was riding around in downtown Elkhart. I almost said Delcart. Downtown Elkhart. And I ran into an Indian FTR. I was so happy to see one. That's the first time that I've seen one on the road. I've seen them in the dealership. And I've also seen them, obviously, on the website and everything. But finally seeing one on the road was really, really cool. And the 2019 Indian FTR has taken the motorcycle world by storm. If you haven't seen this bike, it is gorgeous. And, of course, it is based off of Indian's championship flat track racer. Just a phenomenal motorcycle, which, by the way, is extremely affordable. And it blew me away. I was so giddy when I saw it. And I rode my bike into work today. I get a lot of people asking me if I ride my bike. Yes, I ride my motorcycle frequently. In fact, I ride the motorcycle more than I drive the car nowadays. And as long as I can continue to get away with doing that with this weather, I'm going to continue doing so. I absolutely love riding a motorcycle. So if you are looking to get a motorcycle or you're looking to upgrade, maybe you've got an older bike and you want to get a new one, or you're looking to change brands or whatever it is, go to Elkhart Indian Motorcycle. You cannot get a better dealership to buy a motorcycle from. First of all, you're going to walk in and you're immediately going to see the difference. This place is designed to be comfortable, welcoming. There's places for you to sit and kind of just watch TV. There's, people come and hang out. There's stuff for kids there, and they do a lot of family-friendly events that are there. And if you go to the website, you can actually go to their events page. And you've heard my commercials for the Wild West event. That's going to be awesome. We're going to take some people who want to go over to Wild West Wednesday on the 7th next month, I believe, is when I'm going to be doing it. And we're going to ride out to Elkhart Indian Motorcycle, and we're going to hang out. They've also got Bikers for Backpacks that is coming up on the 3rd. So they do a lot of charity events, and they do a lot of family-friendly events. So definitely, if you want to become a member of the Elkhart Indian Motorcycle family, do so. Like I said, you're not going to find a better dealership anywhere. Their service department is phenomenal, which reminds me, I have to get the Scout in for its 500-mile service and go ahead and get that taken care of because it was a new bike. So they want to change my oil earlier than normal. Go to ElkhartIndianMotorcycle.com. They're located at 3016 Brittany Court in Elkhart, Indiana. Definitely check out their new and used inventory. Like I said, if you're looking for a new bike, you're not going to find better than Indian Motorcycles. If you're looking for a used bike, they've got tons for you to choose from. ElkhartIndianMotorcycle.com. Please let them know that I sent you over there. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Okay, yesterday I talked about the NYPD getting doused with water. There were several videos where they were being doused with water. And frankly, there was at least 2 different occasions where this happened. Now, if we're at a point in our country where people could walk up to law enforcement literally with buckets and just dump them over their head and then go and grab more water and then bring it back and dump it over their head, and police don't do anything about it, we have a problem. To my knowledge, I don't think the mayor of New York has come out and said anything about this. I don't know for sure. Okay, don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. But there should have been everywhere.
That literally should have been everywhere. The mayor should have been blasting people for doing this. Well, I have an update on that story. New York City police have arrested a suspect Wednesday in connection with these set of viral videos taken over the weekend showing NYPD officers being doused with water. Officers apprehended a 28-year-old suspect described as a known gang member. Shocking. Allegedly involved in one of the two videos showing cops soaked with water while making arrests in Harlem and Brooklyn. Let's see. This is the NYPD chief, Terrence Monahan. The NYPD would not provide his name to media outlets. Okay, so they're keeping it secret, but he's a known gang member. Actions like we've seen in videos recently will never be tolerated in the city. You will be arrested, Monahan said on Twitter. The thing is that those officers should have felt comfortable taking them into custody right then and there, but they didn't. You know, this is what has been created. We have talked with several police officers across the country that say that they feel like they can't do their job anymore. Obviously, what is happening with the FOP and with the South Bend Police Department and the mayor, that has been a thing that we have been discussing over the past several weeks also. And again, a lot of police officers locally say that we don't do anything anymore. We're afraid to do anything because we don't want to turn into an issue. And there's a lot of people that are choosing to leave policing or not go into policing altogether because they don't want to have to do something and then get blasted by the media and community activists is doing something that is discriminatory when all they were doing was their job. So the NYPD released images of 3 individuals wanted in connection with the water incidents. But here's the thing. Why should we have to release surveillance video or video of the live streams that happened to the public in order to detain them? Just let the officers who are being assaulted turn around and take them into custody. Why do we have to have a manhunt for them after the fact? Allow them to take them into custody. Now, in one of the videos, they were just walking the street being doused. In the other video, they were taking somebody else into custody, and they were actually, one of the officers was hit in the head with a bucket. You know, this is not acceptable behavior. The media has continued to foster this climate. I wrote a whole article about how the Dallas murderer who murdered those police officers, Black Lives Matter activists who murdered those police officers and basically went on a rampage in that city, how the media was responsible for that. And I linked to a whole host of scientific research which proved my point. This type of rhetoric that we are seeing from political candidates and from the media as well as community activists has got to stop because people are getting hurt. And it's going to escalate and it's going to get worse if we don't have an honest media covering this stuff. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Oh, what's up, Gerald? Oh my gosh. Ooh. Okay. So we met the goal for YouTube in July. The goal was to get over 2,000 subscribers, and we did. And I promised that I would be doing a giveaway. What do you think about Black Rifle Coffee? Maybe I could do 2 winners for Black Rifle Coffee. You think that sounds like a good giveaway for reaching the 2,000 mark? I think it sounds pretty good. I've got a couple of extra bags floating around that I could give away for a couple of different winners. And I think that might be something a little bit better than like a 3D printed whatever or something of that nature. So maybe we'll do that. But I wanted to talk to you guys about it and ask what you thought.
Outside attorney to represent the General Assembly in a federal lawsuit alleging that State Attorney General Curtis Hill worked for women. A state lawmaker in 3
Angel likes it. Gerald likes it. Sam likes it. Full auto Uzi with rubber bullets for the water throwers. Okay. Maybe for my business page. You probably need a penknife to open it, yeah. That's for my other page. So what I will probably do, since people seem to like that idea, is I'll set something up to where if you are already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you get an entry. If you comment on the video, you get an entry. If you like my Facebook page, you get an extra entry. Twitch, extra entry. Twitter, extra entry. You know, that sort of thing. So that way it gets people motivated to like other places where I'm at to get extra entries to possibly win. So I think I'll do that. I do. I've got some extra bags since my back orders all came through at the same time. It's like, yeah, I got tons of coffee. And there's some duplicates as well. And I can keep them, but why not give them away and share?
Committee Chair Adam Schiff, Mueller also refusing to discuss the origins of the special counsel investigation.
There's Burp.
What Republicans are seeking.
Burp on Twitch. I see you.
Questions about the initial opening of the FBI's Russia investigation, which occurred.
Coffee with a surprise pen. Yeah. You guys want expensive free stuff. When I start getting to like 50,000 subscribers, then we can start talking about that stuff.
If you need an awesome breakfast, head over to the Prime Table. Breakfast served all day.
Now, home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals' first warning forecasts.
This evening will be sunny with temperatures in the upper 70s, but once the sun comes down, temperatures will drop quick, and overnight we'll have a low of 57 degrees. It'll be a cooler start to Thursday morning, but by the afternoon we'll make it up to 82 with sunshine. And the heat and humidity returns for the weekend. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Erica Horbatine.
News protected by ZX Gun, your single source for personal protection. Visit them on Thursday.
ZX Gun.
Check out their full line of quality handguns, shotguns, rifles, accessories, and more.
What if this was a loved one?
911. Someone's trying to break into my home. They're right at the front door. We're notifying the authorities.
Yeah, I'm almost out too. I'm gonna have to get a warm up next break or something. Yep, I like Indiana whiskey. They keep coming this close to advertising and then they don't do it. So.
Located in downtown Goshen at the corner of US 33 and State Route 50. Visit them online at cxgun.com. Protect yourself and loved ones today at CX Gun.
Hey everybody, Casey Hendrickson here, and it is time for the Cass County Fair, and it all gets started on Monday, July 29th. And boy, do they have a lot for you and the family to do this year. Great activities like truck and tractor pulls, demolition derbies, motocross, monster trucks. And
yeah, the nightlight. So what he did is he printed a lithophane, and lithophanes you can print with any picture. So a lot of people do their family and stuff like that, or they'll do Star Trek stuff, and then you just get the little light that goes behind it, and yeah, it looks really cool.
The Fox Business Report, powered by Home Comfort.
Looks really, really cool. And they are pretty quick to print too. They don't take that long. I should probably print several of those. And let's see. Julie doesn't like the coffee idea. Oh, maybe they're talking about something else. Never mind. William says they like black coffee on Facebook. Heck yeah. Play-Doh, safe spaces, nothing wrong with that, right? That's how people live these days. I once again made the mistake of not eating lunch. Unfortunately. All right, I'll give you the latest on Ilhan Omar.
You don't want to mess with the IRS. They have the power to garnish your paycheck, levy your bank account, and even take your home or business. That's all.
Yeah, he did. Mueller needed some coffee today. That is for sure. Holy smokes.
Experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best possible tax settlement, and they have an A+ rating with the BBB. Call Optima for your free consultation.
Call 800-410-6784.
On Tel Aviv Highway, there's a billboard in Israel of the leader of Hamas in a bikini. Nice. Oh, I love trolling terrorists. Oh yeah, that was another thing. Mueller forgot that he was appointed. He forgot which president appointed him.
You'll learn how a growing trend of successful families are taking Social Security early, resulting in more money in retirement. How much you potentially paid into Social Security, and the latest strategies to get these hard-earned dollars back, and protecting Medicare B&D premiums from a stealth
Media caught pushing fake news about Mueller testimony.
July 31st. Every attendee will
They're already out there. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is already trying to raise money off of the Mueller testimony.
Or call 866-482-9559, 866-482-9559.
They claim that Mueller said, I would charge Trump for obstruction if he wasn't in office.
Make summer hot again with Impress Jewelry Creations Summer Sale. Let's face it, special occasions happen year-round, and with a lackluster start to the summer season, isn't it time to make your next occasion sizzle? Don't lose focus of the things that really matter. Your family.
That is not what Mueller said at all.
Deserve to be celebrated. Impress Jewelry Creations special.
But a bunch of people are going to be misinformed about it and run around, and we got to deal with all of those people on social media now.
Impress in-store collections and get more than just the barbecue turned on. Light their fire with a little number from Impress Jewelry Creations. Select designs and in-store watches.
Well, I can't eat Jimmy John's. I'm also not a massive fan of cold subs. So, nothing against Jimmy John's. My family loves Jimmy John's, but I don't like cold subs. I'm more of a Penn Station fan for local subs, but nothing holds a candle to Quiznos. Quiznos and Schlotsky's.
Next to Temper Grill and Judy's.
From the Final Phase Electric Studios.
Okay, Susie doesn't get registered to win the free coffee. Thank you. I appreciate that you're happy without me doing giveaways. I appreciate that a lot.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Okay, a couple of text messages here. Casey, I'm on the bypass westbound between 19 and Elm Road, and it is a mess. We have construction going on all over Michiana, and I'm tired of it. The one place where we really need some work, some road work done, nothing is being done about it, and that would be Ironwood under the bypass. So the bypass westbound has just been a mess for the past week. Just avoid it if you can. All right, a couple of questions about my business. Casey, will you ever sell paracord bracelets at AS Defense? Okay. For those of you who don't know, I used to make paracord products all the time. It's very cathartic and therapeutic for me, and frankly, I'm darn good at it. I just didn't have the space previously to do it. So I'd have to get everything out, make it, and then put everything away. It was a hassle, and I kind of got away from it. But every time I bust out the paracord and start making things again, I really enjoy it. So the answer to that is sure. I've actually been considering it over the past couple of weeks of doing a couple of things and throwing it up there. I'm happy to do it. I probably will not take custom orders anymore, just because it becomes a little difficult to track it, and people are always asking you for options, and it just becomes a whole thing. So I probably won't do custom orders anymore. But if you all want to see some paracord stuff up there, I'll throw some paracord stuff up there. Absolutely, I don't have an issue with that. Also, customer who ordered the OTF automatic knife with the pen. So I've got this tactical pen that has an OTF automatic knife that I showcased here. I bought a few of them, sold out in less than 24 hours. That came in the mail for them today, and they love it. They say it's awesome. Good. I'm glad. Thank you very much. I appreciate the business. All right, 574-25-95-95.3. Judicial Watch has filed a House ethics complaint against Ilhan Omar over potential immigration, marriage, and tax and student loan fraud. Now, for those of you who do not know, Ilhan Omar has long been rumored to have committed immigration fraud by marrying her brother in order to gain citizenship into the in the United States. Okay, so this was unproven for an extended period of time, and a lot of people regarded it as a conspiracy. We do know she did, in fact, commit tax fraud. We know that. She filled out a joint tax return for her now ex-husband, which many people believe is her brother, while being married to her current husband. So she filled out 2 joint married tax returns. You obviously cannot do that. Now, she has corrected that form. So she filed an amendment and fixed it, okay? So it's nothing that's criminal or going to go to prison over. But they're saying that there might be an ethical issue. She is certainly also, her campaign has been caught improperly using campaign funds. Okay, that's also not up for debate. That did happen. Again, not something she's going to go to jail for. It's a little fine. They pay it. It goes away. Unless, of course, you start getting into a Republican candidate, then it's a big deal. So anyway, this is all happening. So what happened here recently that made this story start popping back up again was not President Trump and his tweets or anything else. What ended up happening is the Minnesota Star-Tribune, which is the largest paper in the state, hugely liberal newspaper who has defended Ilhan Omar for a long period of time, finally, after 3 years of ignoring it, finally started to look into the immigration fraud story. And they came back and said, there's something here. It's not a conspiracy, and there's something that's going on that doesn't pass the smell test. Whether or not she actually married her brother in order to commit immigration fraud, they haven't gone that far, but it's crystal clear that there's some questions that need to be answered. That's basically their conclusion, okay? So then I ran into another story. So now Judicial Watch has filed the ethics complaint against Ilhan Omar for that. What that allows them to do is basically potentially look at discovery and start getting documents and compelling witness statements and that sort of thing so they can do an investigation. That's what Judicial Watch does best. And we know a lot about what we know because of the Hillary email thing because Judicial Watch has done this. So now the Washington Free Beacon, Ilhan Omar's marriage flummoxes media fact checkers. And that's a great way of putting it, because essentially what you have is you now, because the story has resurfaced and because it is resurfaced in a major newspaper that is a liberal newspaper that has been in her corner and isn't considered, a partisan conservative rag, if you will, they're now looking at, all of these fact checkers are looking at whether or not this story has any legs. So they're all trying to go and debunk it. They can't. That's the problem. And do you know why they can't debunk she married her brother and committed immigration fraud story? Anybody know why they can't debunk that? 2 reasons. 1, there's documents that can't be proven to be forgeries. And 2, she will not answer questions or make people who are critical to this investigation available for comment, including her relatives that are in other countries. So there's a lot of fact checkers that are looking at this and going, this would all go away if you let us talk to your brother and your dad who are in Somalia. She won't provide contact information for them. So Ilhan Omar's campaign, which went out of their way to keep this story out of the newspaper when she was running for office, has continued to do so. And now the latest report that we had earlier this week was that her campaign is threatening potential whistleblowers who have information about this. She could make it go away with simply providing contact information for her brother and her dad, and she will not do it. Why? If you're really innocent, why wouldn't you just go talk to them? This is so stupid. Go talk to them. This thing will be over and done with. But she isn't, which has a lot of people going, there's something here, and certainly she needs to answer some questions. Again, I'm not saying that she did marry her brother, but if you look at the documents and the evidence that we have, it's leaning in that direction that she married her brother to commit immigration fraud. I am not saying that it was a consummated relationship or anything else. It may have just been a fraudulent relationship in order to gain access to legal residency in the U.S., okay? So I'll tell you what Brett Scher found in the Washington Free Beacon coming up in the next segment here on 95.3 MNC.
On your radio at 95.3 FM, online at 95.3 MNC.
And on your smart speaker when you enable the 95.3 MNC skill on Alexa.
Yeah, I like Indiana whiskey. Mom, were you the one that got me the sample, or did Shanna get me the sample of Indiana whiskey stuff when you were up here for Christmas? It was good stuff. It was very good. I was very happy with it. Incest until proven innocent. Funny. Funny, funny, funny.
Home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals, 5-day forecast.
This evening will be beautiful with temperatures in the upper 70s, but overnight we will cool down quick with a low.
There's a whole lot of interesting questions that have to be answered here. And if Ilhan Omar is not going to answer them, like I said, the fact checkers who are going out, they're trying to put the story to bed. And they keep coming back and going, we can't, because she's not helping us. If she provided access to her brother and her dad, this story would go away if it wasn't true, but she's blocking us at every turn. Which leads to additional questions, such as, why are you blocking anybody from putting this story to bed? What is going on? Is the story true, or is there something else that you are hiding?
Before your drive comes to a grinding halt, get traffic alerts direct to your cell phone. Text news to 45364. From the station that keeps you moving on air, online, and on your cell. From News Talk 95.3 Michiana's News Channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price, call me at 574-294-5678.
Flyfish says if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Where's he job like a duck? It's probably a duck.
Any price range and in any location. I am not a realtor or associated with any
she just wants to keep it in the family. Oh my God.
Call me at 574-294-5678.
But this is, also one of the reasons that the chant happened at that event, because people know this stuff. And when they're at the Trump event, they know that this is going on right now. And there's a lot of people like, well, she committed fraud. Quiznos French dip, the best French dip. Dude, I am with you. Love their French dip. Have you had their prime rib sandwich? Oh my Lord. Quiznos prime rib sandwiches are so good. And you can't get them here. Damn it. Do I have any commitments next week in the evening? According to my question from my wife, I don't believe so. Oh, extra bonus, I get to come home to a sleepover tonight. Man, I miss Quiznos so bad. Like, I'm at the point where if I go back to Vegas, I'm probably going to do Quiznos first. That's like going to be the first thing out of the airport that I get. Give me Quiznos.
Hey guys, it's Sue Cosner, your favorite sexual health expert, with another version of Ask the Pro. This month, I got a letter.
Sue Cosner is your favorite sexual health expert.
Dear Sue, my husband and I used to have.
She's your favorite one, Joe.
But in the last few years, he has struggled. He's tried about everything, but nothing has worked. Then one day he gave me a night I will never forget. He told me about this secret.
Yeah, that's her sole defense is the race card. That's all she's got.
Wow, Sandy, you beat me to it.
What's interesting is that these women are pretending to be upset about the, go back to your home country bit. Yet Rashida Tlaib talked about deporting Trump, and Ilhan Omar talked about deporting a whole bunch of people that she disagreed with politically prior to this. And now they're doing this sanctimonious offense at what he tweeted out. But again, getting your average low-information voter out there to know this stuff is hard. They're not dedicated to being informed. Yeah, I don't know why Quiznos would have closed, and to be perfectly honest, Comet, so Quiznos about 10 years ago, because I don't think they've been here since I've been here, and I've been here for 7 or 8, and Quiznos went through a whole renovation, rejuvenation thing. It didn't used to be very good, and they basically became the Arby's of sub sandwiches. It was just meat piles everywhere, high-end meat, good quality meat, and it just became insanely good. Schlotzsky's has always been amazing, but Schlotzsky's also pulled out of Vegas. So I haven't had Schlotzsky's in probably 15 years. Dr. Ruth. Yep, thumbs ups would be good. I'd appreciate that.
This song with the military alphabet acronym. It's a good one. If you know what I'm talking about, kudos to you. You're amazing and awesome. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to do better at living. 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. So we are broadcasting live, not just on the radio, not just for those of you listening to the show on 953mnc.com or the free MNC app in the App Store, but for those of you watching right now, you can go to youtube.com/Casey the host. Please hit that subscribe button. I've already announced what the giveaway is going to be for everybody who likes the YouTube page or subscribes to the YouTube page. We'll do a contest giveaway. I'll probably launch that next week. Okay. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a good giveaway because we reached our goal, but I would like to get more subscriptions. If you could go to youtube.com/Casey the host, please hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Ring that bell to go and get notifications of every time we go live or upload a new video. We're also on twitch.tv/Casey the host. You can follow or subscribe there. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free subscription to a Twitch channel. You might as well use it on mine. I would really appreciate it. And if you are on Facebook and that's your preferred platform, just go to facebook.com/Casey the host. Make sure you like my page there as well. We're talking about Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar marriage flummoxes media fact checkers. The so-called baseless smear that can't be debunked. And the fact checkers have been going out there trying to put this thing to bed by saying that this is a smear against Ilhan Omar. They would love to have this turn into a Islamophobic, racist, sexist smear, but they can't because Ilhan Omar is fighting the fact checkers who are trying to help her out. Media outlets scrambled to prove false the accusation that Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, married her brother after President Donald Trump mentioned it, but none have been able to definitively reach an answer, largely due to Omar's unwillingness to provide information. Trump was asked about the accusation that Omar's husband, Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi, was also her brother during a scrum with reporters last Wednesday and said that he had heard talk that she married her brother, but knew nothing about it. Now, again, they also, that was fake news too. They tried to say that he brought it up. He did not. He was asked about it. And he said, I don't know. I've heard about it, but I don't know anything about it. National media had largely kept away from judging the merits of the accusations that she was related to her second husband, which have circulated since her entry into politics in 2016 after Trump's comments. Many came to quick conclusions. CNN's Jim Acosta jumped in immediately to criticize Trump for diving in on disgusting lies. And again, he didn't. He was asked about it. The Daily Beast, Will Sommer, published a lengthy piece on Friday that did little to nothing to debunk what he calls a baseless smear. And again, President Trump didn't bring it up. The media asked him about it, and he said, I don't know. He says, I've heard about it, but I don't know anything about it. And if you were engaged in Ilhan Omar's political career at all, you would have heard this because it's been around for at least 3 years. The closest thing to evidence against the claim presented in Summers' piece is a reference to a time Omar showed the Star Tribune reporter pictures on her cell phone of immigration documents with a list of members of her family. Summers' piece fails to mention that Omar declined to provide copies of any of those documents to the reporter or allow him to make a record of the information that he was briefly allowed to view. So it was akin to a fake police officer going, here's my badge, and then closing his badge and then putting it in his pocket. That old trick that you used to see in crime television shows when somebody wasn't a cop but was pretending to be a cop. That's what Ilhan Omar did with her phone. So like, here's my immigration documents, and then she closed it and did not provide those documents, refused to the reporter who did, in fact, ask for those documents so they could write about them. Omar did not respond to requests for comment from the Daily Beast. Her congressional office currently is alerting reporters through auto reply that it's not responding to press inquiries, including one from the Washington Free Beacon, into whether any other outlets have been shown documents that Omar purports to be evidence against the claim that she married her brother. Again, if Ilhan Omar didn't marry her brother, why is she not providing evidentiary proof with those immigration documents that that's not her brother? Why is she not making her brother available for comment? Nobody can find her brother in Somalia. She has contact for him, we assume. She won't give anybody his contact information. And people have asked for her dad's information as well, and she will not provide that. Why is she going to great lengths to hide evidence that would clear her of this smear? So the fact checkers are getting really frustrated here, and some people are starting to say, well, there's definitely something here. Whether or not she married her brother to commit immigration fraud, we don't know. But there are questions that she needs to answer that are not being answered, and she is actually opposing our investigation, which we're trying to clear her of this. One time, Omar allowed a reporter to view documents on a cell phone was also the extent of substantial evidence against the claim presented in the New York Times fact check of Omar's marriage. And again, they did not mention that the reporter was denied those documents. PolitiFact, perhaps wisely, didn't dive into the marriage question after Trump's Wednesday remark, but rather went to the Star Tribune to ask about its attempts to gather facts needed to reach a conclusion. The Minnesota paper's political editor told PolitiFact that his interest in the marriage controversy began because his reporters were not getting a lot of answers from Omar on her incorrectly filed tax returns in which she claimed to be married to her current husband, Ahmed Hirsi, when she, in fact, was not. So the paper is saying she incorrectly filed tax returns, which she's now corrected, by the way, but she's incorrectly filed these tax returns. So our reporters started asking some questions because it relates to her immigration stuff, and she's fighting us tooth and nail on all of this. So all of these fact checkers are trying to say that this is a smear, but nobody can actually debunk it as being false because Ilhan Omar is not giving them the proof that it's a smear and that she did not marry her brother and did not commit immigration fraud. And again, this is the reason that the chant happened at the Trump rallies, because people have been aware of this story for at least 3 years. Anyway, we don't know if it's true. It's just that Ilhan Omar is not providing any evidence to prove her innocence, which is troubling. We got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.
WTRC-FM and HD1. Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
News Talk 95.3 Michiana's
So, fun fact about heartburn comment, I don't have heartburn or acid reflux since I went carnivore. I drink just as much coffee. I thought it was the coffee. I drink just as much coffee as I did before, and I do not have the heartburn. Pretty interesting. I've gone over a month without my acid reflux medication, and I haven't had a single bout of heartburn since I went carnivore. So that is interesting. All right, I'm going to go grab some more coffee, speaking of, and I will be right back. Yes, really. Not one bout of it.
Last week, the Trump administration announced that migrants who want to apply for asylum here must first apply for asylum in a country they arrive in or travel to before getting to the U.S. 2 refugee and immigration groups sued, arguing before Judge Timothy Kelly that their groups would be harmed by such a rule, that they would be limited in helping migrants who seek asylum. Judge Kelly, a Trump appointee, ruled against them, denying a temporary restraining order to stop the rule change, finding it would not get in the way of their work. Another federal judge in San Francisco is today hearing a separate lawsuit on the matter filed by the ACLU at Southern Poverty Law Center.
Britain has a new prime minister. Boris Johnson today installed as the UK's new political leader after a ceremony with Queen Elizabeth at Buckingham Palace. Johnson vowing to break the impasse of the UK's departure from the European Union. This is Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and 95.3MNC.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, thinking of going swimming in Lake Michigan? Well, think twice.
And the reasons go deeper than just the riptides and dangerous swimming conditions. Meteorologist Tyler Seabury with ABC 57 News says the waters of Lake Michigan have plummeted to dangerously cold levels. The large waves that have made the water unstable for swimmers have also caused what's called an upswelling, with colder water from the deeper parts of the lake dropping temps Tuesday to the 40s, which had been in the 70s just 1 day earlier. Water that cold It's extremely dangerous. It can become life-threatening very quickly. Seabury recommends waiting until warmer conditions return this weekend, which should allow Lake Michigan some time to recover, enough to be tolerable again.
95.3 MNC's John Zimney reporting. A bill extending funding for the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund has been approved by the U.S. Senate.
Indiana Senator Todd Young was among the 97 who voted for it.
We have an obligation to help out these fellow Americans. So today, I am
new
proud
people in the building.
To be voting to continue to reauthorize the September 11 Victim Compensation Fund.
What I really want to happen is that at one time we get a subbing gatekeeper. I come in and just walk by them without acknowledging them, and they just look really confused.
It happens frequently, actually. We've had somebody who was either temporarily doing it and they're not from the building. You just kind of walk right by them, and all you can do is think, "Hey, cool, I could be a terrorist." I have no idea who I am. You ate some pasta. It tore your ass up, didn't it? Yup.
Weather sponsored by.
So, for those of you who did not see that, so Saturday and Sunday I cheated. That I got to my 30 days and then I cheated, and I had some Cheez-Its, and it just demolished me. And then I had some pizza the next day, and that made things way worse. So I was finally recovered yesterday. Yesterday I was finally recovered. But yeah, brutal.
We were voice activated before voice activation was a thing. 95.3 MNC on Alexa, Google Home, and Smart.
So Alex, your heartburn's gone too? Am I reading that right? Because I drink more coffee than I was, because I was limiting my coffee because I kept getting heartburn. So I'm actually drinking more coffee now because coffee's free on the diet. It doesn't count towards anything. No kidding. So both of us had heartburn go away. Interesting. I've had no acid reflux either. So, because I really feel the acid reflux in my throat, and that's all gone.
And we're more than ready to help. Contact Fast Signs today. Fast Signs in South Bend,
Interesting.
Avenue, east of Ironwood, and on Cassopolis, north of Bristol Street in Elkhart.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a frisbee.
That's just it. It was a reward. You're right. It was a reward.
Save sales event.
And part of me, even though I knew the pizza was going to mess me up and I knew that the Cheez-Its was going to mess me up, part of me was like, I want to see how bad it is. So there was a little bit of the curiosity in me that did it. Alex doesn't have heartburn either. His went away too. Yeah. Because he's doing carnivore just like I am. I haven't had any heartburn medication in over a month. And I'm convinced I'm under 200 now because my pants yesterday were super loose. So I had to adjust them again.
We have the best listeners, concerned listener Kelly dropped this off because they wanted us to know about some voter fraud tactics that are... So,
okay.
Leave that with you.
Awesome, man. Thank you much.
Listener Kelly is probably listening right now.
Thank you, Kelly. Sweet.
I'll send you a PDF if you want to read it later, but that's a hard copy.
Cool. Thank you. All right.
Shrimp gumbo, Cajun po' boys, and baked mac and cheese. And to make your visit even better, you can grab 2 $25 gift certificates for the price of one at My Deals Michigan.
So Angel's heartburn went away with keto. Interesting. Because I was convinced it was the coffee. And I actually, when I mentioned it before I started the carnivore, I looked right at my doctor and I said, yeah, I've had a lot of heartburn lately. And I told her, I said, don't you dare tell me not to drink coffee because I won't listen to you. She goes, okay. And yeah, I have not had that medication just sitting there on my counter. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC
at the beginning of that message. Mueller, Mueller, Mueller. We'll talk about Mueller. If you want to comment on Mueller's testimony today, feel free to give us a call right now. And as he's screening your phone calls, I will pay some bills and then take to the phone lines and get your reaction to that. Again, 574-2595, 95.3 if you'd like to join us and react to Mueller's testimony today. In the meantime, I would like to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get 50% off your range time. By the way, tomorrow is the Defensive Pistol Open League night. It's that way every Thursday, so go enjoy yourself with like-minded shooters. SecondAmendmentArms.net for more information. All right. I played the audio from Chris Wallace earlier, and Chris Wallace basically said the Mueller hearing is a disaster for Democrats. And Chris Wallace does not like Trump, okay? And the reason I played that is not because I wanted to go ahead and give you, a Republican or a conservative saying that it was a disaster for the Democrats. I wanted to give you somebody who does not like President Trump, who said it was disaster for Democrats. Chuck Todd basically said the exact same thing. Mueller didn't pull any real big surprises. Now, I didn't get the sound bites from his continuing testimony during the show today, where he was talking to Adam Schiff. So I will have all of that stuff, obviously, tonight. Donald Trump actually tweeted out a thank you to the Democrats for even having the Mueller hearing. I would like to thank the Democrats for holding this morning's hearing, he wrote on Twitter. Now, after 3 hours, Robert Mueller has to subject himself to Shifty Schiff, an embarrassment to our country. So, and again, it's Adam Schiff, first of all, has broken a lot of laws, and Adam Schiff may very well be in some big trouble when the IG report comes out. Okay, we'll see. But Mueller has, I think, the biggest takeaway. And I was looking at it, I was thinking about it, and then Chris Wallace said it, and I played it in the audio that I played in the 3 o'clock hour. Wallace said, it seems like Mueller wasn't even involved in the investigation and didn't even write his own report. It seems like somebody else did all of this. Like maybe it was Andrew Weissman. I don't know. And the reason for that, for those of you who didn't have an opportunity to listen to it today or even pick up sound bites of it, Mueller did not know very basic things about his report. And members of Congress were kind of flummoxed by that. You supposedly headed the investigation and you wrote the report. How can you not know basics of the report? And part of it, some of the testimony, which might be misappropriated to mean that, or things where he said, if the report said that, I can't say anything beyond that. And that is because the report does have classified material in it. There's redactions in there. He cannot expand upon those redactions. He told the Democrats before he was subpoenaed, and after he was subpoenaed, I am simply going to tell them what my report said. I'm not going to go outside of the confines of the report, period. And for those of you out there who are saying that the Attorney General is the reason that Mueller wasn't able to answer these questions, you're wrong. Mueller requested guidance from the Attorney General, and he was given said guidance. That is standard procedure. It is nothing unusual in a circumstance like this, okay? So there's no conspiracy or weirdness involved in all of that. So Donald Trump thanked the Democrats for having the hearing because it did not go the way the Democrats were hoping. Some people on the live stream said that ABC correspondents an ABC correspondent said that impeachment is dead now. There's no way that you can go for it. But Rush Limbaugh today, I was listening to him, and we all knew this was going to happen. I just have to give him credit because I know that some of you listen all day, and if I don't give him credit, you'll pitch a fit. You don't ever give me credit when I say something long before him, but, I digress. Rush Limbaugh said, the Democrats will lie about what Mueller said today, and they will say that this proves that he broke the law and he committed crimes. That is not what Mueller said at all today in his testimony, based on the first half of the testimony anyway. I don't know what he said with the Schiff segment of it because we were live on the air and I wasn't able to listen. But the Congressional Campaign Committee for the Democrats, the DCCC, falsely claimed that Mueller testified that he would charge President Donald Trump with obstruction of justice if he weren't president. During his morning testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, Mueller appeared to agree with Democratic California Representative Ted Lieu, who asserted that Mueller's office didn't charge Trump with obstruction because of the Department of Justice policy against indicting sitting presidents. But Mueller corrected the record when he began his afternoon testimony in front of the House Intelligence Committee, well before the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee's email blast where they were trying to fundraise off of this. So the DCCC, they said, Robert Mueller, I would charge Trump for obstruction if he wasn't in office. He didn't say that. But the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee sent out a fundraising email that claimed he did. So it's already fake news. So this is what Mueller said, and he started the afternoon testimony. I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Lieu, who said, and I quote, you didn't charge the president because of the OLC opinion. That's what Mueller said in his correction. That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said in the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime. In other words, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, when they sent this email blast claiming, and I quote, Robert Mueller, I would charge Trump for obstruction if he wasn't in office. That is not true. That did not happen. And their email went out after Mueller corrected the record where he clearly states that we found no evidence that the president committed a crime. We did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime. Okay? So there's no evidence of a crime. They did not reach that determination. And the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee still sent out that email blast trying to get people's money. And there's going to be, again, a bunch of these little frothy social justice warriors on social media going to be running around and saying, Mueller said that he would prosecute Trump if he wasn't in office. No, he didn't. At all. He even corrected it. Made sure there was no questions whatsoever. And again, he had a friend there who's been advising him, which he requested yesterday. And a lot of Republicans weren't happy about that. But, so Mueller, he obviously, this came up and I want to make sure that everybody understands that I did not say that. Okay. And he did. So at the beginning of the afternoon testimony, because he did the morning testimony, the afternoon testimony, then went to the Intelligence Committee, he went out there and he said, I did not make a determination about whether the president committed a crime. So it is important that everybody understand that, because the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is out there once again telling people that Mueller would prosecute the president if he were not in office. That didn't happen. All right? It's a lie. 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. If you would like to comment on this, I'm happy to take those phone calls. Okay? If you want to send me a text, send your text to 45364. Again, just put MNC or my name at the beginning of that so I know you're talking to me. I'm going to play for you some sound bites of what happened, because Mueller was caught in some contradicting statements, and some very interesting things kind of happened in the testimony, in the afternoon testimony about which kind of led to some people saying, we don't know if Mueller was even involved in this investigation at all. He appears to just be a figurehead here, and we'll do some of that stuff coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Crash westbound State Road 2 at Timothy Road. Right lane is blocked. Thank you, Roland. Appreciate it.
Exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people. Visit Prime Table today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Now, Home Comfort Experts, your air conditioning professionals' 5-day forecast.
This evening will be beautiful with temperatures in the upper 70s, but overnight we will cool down quick with a low of 57.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
It's amazing what beer will do to you, Al. It really is.
Calling about, please.
Beer will add those pounds, man.
You want to take callers on it?
Yeah.
All right, can I get your first name, please? All right, I'll try to get you on there.
Sunday will be the hottest day of the week with 85 as our scattered showers and storms. And by Monday, we'll have 82 with scattered showers and thunderstorms. In the ABC 57 First from the Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Erica Warburton.
The station to turn to when the weather weather turns bad.
When severe weather strikes in Michiana, focus on protecting yourself and your family. This is ABC 57 meteorologist Tom Coombs. If you're in your car and you see a tornado in the distance, seek shelter in a sturdy building or underground. If you're caught by extreme wind or flying debris, pull over, cover your head, and keep below the windows. If you can safely get loaded on the road, leave your car and lie in that area, keeping your head covered. Avoid seeking shelter under bridges.
95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
Ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating is the newest in paint coating technology and will have your car turning heads for years, literally. The Z-Gloss process begins with polishing the paint.
Man, I was just looking at our van yesterday. It always looks shiny and clean. Like, that Z-Gloss is friggin' amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The depth of your vehicle's gloss. This perfected paint process is hydrophobic, causing all liquids to beat up and roll off, not to mention it's scratch, UV, and chemical resistant. Aside from the occasional car wash, it requires zero waxing.
What's up, Speed? How you doing, man?
Better than new. Z-Gloss has a 7-year warranty against bird droppings, acid rain, tree sap, UV rays, bugs, water droplets, dirt, and anything else nature throws at it, while providing any unmatched shine that's second to none. Z-Bart, your automotive appearance and protection. Visit Z-Bart of South Bend or call 574-232-2073.
I can't believe I'm getting married today. Do you have the ring? Do I look okay?
Son, it's all taken.
More people asking me about my doctor.
It's your mother I'm worried about. When you announced the engagement, all I saw was a flash of dresses and clothes all over the house for the next month. Your mom is very excited for you, and she just wants everything to be perfect. She's getting ready now, and I'm sure she's a hot mess.
We're missing 5 thumbs. What the hell? Thumbs up, people, please. Pretty please.
Fashions. Judy's is the perfect fit for any special occasion. Browse through top designers with specially trained associates.
All right, so I got to pull up this Gates bit.
Analysis and view one-of-a-kind dresses like Molcherie Komarov that can't be found anywhere else in the area. Judy girls won't let you leave the store without something that doesn't look just right. Judy's, it's the best brands for the best you, with locations in Laporte.
So many.
And now open in Valparaiso.
Has YouTube just like allowed us to layer advertisements all over the friggin' videos now, like you do on websites?
You can end up giving 20 to 30% of your benefits back to the IRS. It's too late. Take action. Join me, best-selling author, TV and radio host Casey Weed, for the Social Security Summit live via webinar on Wednesday, July 31st at 8 a.m. 12 or 7 p.m.
They're wrong.
You'll learn how a growing trend of successful families are taking
They're wrong, Ron.
early, resulting in more money.
And I'm not on the caveman diet anyway, but it's not much different. But yeah, no, it's the meat being tied to heart disease thing has been debunked for a long time. But you still have a bunch of doctors who are doing the old food pyramid crap, and the research isn't there. You know, we are now learning that cholesterol and fat in our food is not bad inherently, whereas for a long time we thought that's what was causing heart disease, but it's not true. So it's how the body metabolizes. In fact, high carbohydrates tend to lead to cholesterol issues.
Prescription drug prices are out of control. Big drug companies are making Americans pay twice as much for prescription drugs as people in other countries. Sometimes it's a fraction of what we pay in this country. Our prices are so high, many Americans actually have to choose between buying medicine and buying food for their families. Americans pay more so that other countries can pay less. It's absolutely ridiculous that the big drug companies say that they can't lower prices for us.
Z-Gloss on the inside of the van? Yeah, they could rhino line the inside of the van. I'd be okay with that. A lot of people do that with their Jeeps and their trucks. I would totally be okay with that.
Now is the time to stand up to the big drug companies and stop the greed. Cut prescription drug prices once and for all.
Sugar is the biggest poison that we have in society. And a little bit of it's fine, but yeah, there's a lot. It's amazing how different our knowledge is just over the past 10 years. I was one of the only people in media in the country telling everybody that soy was bad for you. And now everybody acknowledges that soy is bad for you. But for many years, soy was the miracle food that was going to heal everything. And And you looked at the research, though, and it was crystal clear it was soy farmers pushing that nonsense, and people were getting seriously sick. And now everybody acknowledges what I found early, and it's not because I'm smart, it's because I read the friggin' papers on it. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. We're talking about the Mueller situation. By the way, where did it go? I've got to pull this up because a listener on the live stream just gave me some chat about the traffic out there. Roland gave me an update on traffic. And there we go. Crash on westbound State Road 2 at Timothy Road, and the right lane is blocked. So thank you for the updates. We appreciate that. If you have anything else, please let us know. We're talking about Robert Mueller and his testimony today. To the phone lines we go. John, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. What's up?
I managed, not much. I managed to stream all 5 hours. I mean, there were some spots that the video on C-SPAN didn't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, I'm hesitant to say anything went bad, especially, but I'll tell you what, he looked so asleep and so could not answer questions about his own report to the point that you really had to question whether he knew what he was talking about. And not only was it bad for, the impeachment, but it really almost, anybody who brings up now whether the whole, special counsel, what they've been doing for all those years, anybody who brings that up now, it has it's so illegitimate now.
Some of the things that we're constantly talking about this is why did the investigation take so long? Because we kind of knew what was happening, and there were no surprises in his report when it came out. We knew basically everything that he put in that report. So, we were hoping after all of those years that there would be something new. And I know that some people were hoping for something new in one direction or the other, but it was the same thing. And you're right. A lot of people have commented on the way that Mueller carried himself today. He was asleep. He wasn't paying attention. He didn't care. And that led to Chris Wallace saying, look, he doesn't know basics of his own. Oh, he dropped. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. So I hope you didn't think I was trying to talk over you. I wasn't trying to. He didn't know basics of his own report. And so Chris Wallace basically made the point, hey, this is now calling into question of if he even wrote the report or did somebody else do it, and how involved in the investigation was Mueller, because he just seemed oblivious to certain facts here. And so I want to play this for you. This is Matt Gaetz. So Matt Gaetz is talking to Mueller. It's a longer piece of audio than I usually play. But this is Matt Gaetz, and he is talking about Mueller's claim that the Steele dossier was beyond the investigation's scope, which all of us have known since the report came out is nonsense, because the dossier is everything. Okay? The dossier is everything. That's what's going to get people in criminal trouble because of the information that we have about the FBI lying to the FISA court. So the dossier was this entire investigation. The only reason that we had this collusion narrative is because of the dossier, which is now completely debunked. So when Mueller said that the dossier was outside of the scope of the investigation, first of all, he arrested people who did things outside of the scope of the investigation, so that doesn't make any sense. But I want you to listen to Matt Gaetz in this exchange with Mueller about this.
Dossier was not part of Russia's disinformation campaign?
No, I said in my opening statement that part of the building of the case predated me, and by at least 10 months.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Manafort's alleged crimes regarding tax evasion predated you. You had no problem charging them. And matter of fact, this Steele dossier predated the Attorney General, and he didn't have any problem answering the question. When Senator Cornyn asked the Attorney General the exact question I asked you, Director, the Attorney General said, and I'm quoting, "No, I can't state that with confidence. And that's one of the areas I'm reviewing. I'm concerned about it, and I don't think it's entirely speculative. Now, if something is not entirely speculative, then it must have some factual basis, but you identify no factual basis regarding the dossier or the possibility that it was part of the Russia disinformation campaign. Now, Christopher Steele's reporting is referenced in your report. Steele reported to the FBI that senior Russian foreign ministry figures, along with other Russians, told him that there was, and I'm quoting from the Steele dossier, extensive evidence of conspiracy between the Trump campaign team and the Kremlin. So here's my question. Did Russians really tell that to Christopher Steele, or did he just make it all up and was he lying to the FBI?
Let me back up a second, if I could, say, as I said earlier, with regard to the Steele, that's beyond my purview.
No, it is exactly your purview, Director Mueller, and here's why. Only one of two things is possible, right? Either Steele made this whole thing up and there were never any Russians telling him of this vast criminal conspiracy that you didn't find, or Russians lied to Steele. Now, if Russians were lying to Steele to undermine our confidence in our duly elected president, that would seem to be precisely your purview, because you stated in your opening that the organizing principle was to fully and thoroughly investigate Russia's interference. But you weren't interested in whether or not Russians were interfering through Christopher Steele. And if Steele was lying, then you should have charged him with lying like you charged a variety of other people, but you say nothing about this in your report.
Well, sir.
Meanwhile, Director, you're quite loquacious on other topics. You write 3,500 words about the June 9 meeting between the Trump campaign and Russian lawyer Veselnitskaya. You write on page 103 of your report that the president's legal team suggested, and I'm quoting from your report, that the meeting might have been a setup by individuals working with the firm that produced the Steele reporting. So I'm going to ask you a very easy question, Director Mueller. On the week of June 9, who did Russian lawyer Veselnitskaya meet with more frequently? The Trump campaign or Glenn Simpson, who was functionally acting as an operative for the Democratic National Committee?
Well, what I think is missing here is the fact that this is under investigation elsewhere in the Justice Department. And if I can finish, sir, and consequently, it's not within my purview. Department of Justice and FBI should be responsive to questions on this particular issue.
It is absurd to suggest that a operative for the Democrats was meeting with this Russian lawyer the day before and the day after the Trump Tower meeting, and yet that's not something you reference. Now, Glenn Simpson testified under oath he had dinner with Veselnitskaya the day before and the day after this meeting with the Trump team. Do you have any basis, as you sit here today, to believe that Steele was lying?
As I said before, and I'll say again, it's not my purview. Others are investigating what you
So it's not your purview to look into whether or not Steele's lying. It's not your purview to look into whether or not anti-Trump Russians are lying to Steele. And it's not your purview to look at whether or not Glenn Simpson was meeting with the Russians the day before and the day after you write 3,500 words about the Trump campaign meeting. So I'm wondering how these decisions are guided. I look at the Inspector General's report. I'm citing from page 404 of the Inspector General's report. It states, Page stated, Trump's not ever going to be president, right? Right. Strzok replied, no, he's not. We'll stop it. Also in the Inspector General's report, there's someone identified as attorney number 2. Attorney number 2, this is page 419, replied, hell no, and then added, viva la resistance. Attorney number 2 in the Inspector General's report and Strzok both worked on your team, didn't they?
Pardon me? Can you ask?
They both worked on your team, didn't they?
I know. I heard Strzok. Who else were you talking about?
Attorney number 2 identified in the Inspector General's report.
Okay. And the question was?
Did he work for you? The guy who said viva la resistance.
Peter Strzok worked for me for a period of time, yes.
Yeah, but so did the other guy that said viva la resistance. And here's what I'm kind of noticing, Director Mueller. When people associated with Trump lied, you threw the book at him. When Christopher Steele lied, nothing. And so it seems to be that when Glenn Simpson met with Russians, nothing. When the Trump campaign met with Russians, 3,500 words. And maybe the reason why there are this discrepancies in what you focused on is because the team was so biased.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
Pledged to stop Trump.
Jeffries of New York is recognized.
I'm having a very difficult time breathing after that many throat punches to Mueller's throat. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and 95.3MNC.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, 2 people are dead after being rear-ended by an Indiana State Police cruiser on the toll road in Steuben County yesterday afternoon.
2 troopers were in marked police cruisers when they began heading towards LaGrange County to respond to a crash. Lights and sirens were activated when a cruiser driven by one of the troopers tried to make an evasive maneuver to avoid slowing traffic. That's when the police vehicle hit an SUV driven by 76-year-old Terry Wentworth of Mishawaka. His 74-year-old wife, Gloria, was in the front passenger seat. They were both pronounced dead at the scene. The trooper involved in the crash is hospitalized for
And I know none of you heard that, but it was genius. So basically, what Gates did is just put Mueller up against the wall, lift his chin up, and just throat punch him. Over and over and over and over again. Like, I'm still having trouble catching my breath, for crying out loud. Holy smokes. But again, Mueller looks like he has no idea what the hell is in his own report. And the idea that he's not supposed to be investigating the thing that was responsible for this entire thing to begin with is laughable.
Indiana's Attorney General typically represents state agencies and offices in suits, but House Speaker Brian Bosma and Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Gray says that isn't workable in this case.
That's 95.3 MNC. Johnson.
Fox News, I'm Del Walters. President Trump reacting to the 7-hour appearance before Congress of former Special Counsel Robert Mueller.
Oh, deer in the headlights. That's one way of putting it. That went out in the air. My audio is going out in the air. Didn't?
Oh, the stuff you're playing is?
Yep.
I thought what you were saying.
No. Nope, stuff I'm playing. All right. So I've got the Devin Nunes questioning.
Served up by the Prime Table. Start your morning routine with the Prime Table. This week's breakfast specials: all French toast breakfasts are half off from 6:30 to 10:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Wake up and go to the Prime Table in Niles.
Now, home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals' first warning forecasts.
This evening will be sunny with temperatures in the upper 70s, but once the sun goes down, temperatures will drop.
I mean, that was just savage.
A low of 57 degrees. It'll be a cooler start to Thursday morning, but by the afternoon, we'll make it up to 82 with sunshine. And the heat and humidity returns for the weekend. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Erica Horvatine.
News powered by Temper Grill.
Yes, it is, Roland. Very interesting.
Temper Grill. Seating is limited. Call or visit tempergranger.com today.
When we say food with attitude, what we mean is the finest American-style tapas food in Michiana, surrounded by a craft beer, fine wine, champagne, and dessert list that is as unique and seasonal as our menu. At Temper Grill, Chef Sean works with the finest ingredients to deliver you an unmatched dining experience that changes every week to fit the time of the year and his mood, while always satisfying your Tuesday nights for half-price wine bottles.
Casey, well, I just got a chubby listening to him rip into Mueller. Casey, from what I could tell, not even Mueller read the Mueller report. Exactly.
Tempergranger.com. Unplug and relax with a truly unforgettable dining experience. Because life is too short and the food is too good to break bread in a bad mood. Temper Grill. Food with attitude.
From the Fox Business Network, the government throwing the book at Facebook, the tech giant agreeing to pay a record $5 billion fine Wednesday after being accused of misusing its users' data. As part of the settlement, Facebook also privacy.
The thing is that everything that Gates said is what we've been saying for years now. And there's a bunch of people who heard it for the very first time when Gates said it. And there's far more people who never heard it and will never hear it because they will not listen to it. And that right there shreds the entire notion of collusion anyway. Just that 5 minutes that you just heard. Could be, Al. Could be. Hey, Blue, you're home. Welcome back. Nice to have you with us. So I'm going to play the Devin Nunes questioning here next.
If you qualify, you could save thousands. The experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best possible tax settlement, and they have an A+ rating with the BBB. Call Optima for your
Call 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744.
Optima Tax Relief.
Hi, my name is Shelby Rosenberg. I'm in pre-owned sales at Lock Money Motors. I wouldn't say that my job is easy, but what I would say is it's very rewarding. I know hundreds of vehicles inside and out. I will walk you through your vehicle and help you out with some of your paperwork. But at the core of what I do in sales here at Lock Money Motors is help people, make people happy, and just do the right thing every time. Look, if you've dreaded the car buying process or felt uncomfortable buying a vehicle, come see me here at Lock Money Motors. It's going to be easy, smooth, painless, and you may even have fun. Lock Money Motors has hundreds of used cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs, plus the best brands of new Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Buick, and GMC models on the market. Basically, we have it all right here in person or online at lockmoney.com. I'm Shelby Rosenberg. I've been in sales at Lock Money Motors for over 3 years. Lock Money Motors, a tradition of caring since 1954.
Hey guys, it's Sue Cosner, your favorite sexual health expert, with another version of Ask the Pro. This month, I got a letter from Sandy in Seattle about an explosive bedroom secret she had discovered.
You will have some that'll do that, Alex, but most of them will never watch it. And those who do watch it, who are operatives, will just simply twist what happened and pretend that what really happened didn't happen. Kind of like with the Democratic campaign, Congressional Campaign Committee sending out fake email saying that Mueller said he would indict President Trump if he wasn't the president. Of course, he never said that, but they'll look at it and they'll just pretend it never happened. That's the problem. Did you guys see that the global warming alarmists are now saying that ClimateGate 1 and 2 did not happen, that it was a conspiracy? Did you see that? So they're pretending that two major scandals which prove that this small network of climate scientists were colluding on their temperature data and fabricating it. And we have the email documents, not once but twice. They're now saying that never happened. Total conspiracy. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Kids shoot free today with a shooting parent. And then tomorrow is the Defensive Pistol Open League night. Don't forget to mention me when you go out to Second Amendment Arms because you get discounts on pretty much everything. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. We are talking about the testimony of Robert Mueller today. I just played the questioning, if you will, from Matt Gaetz, who's from Florida, 1st District in Florida, who I think has a really bright political future with the Republican Party. Don't be surprised if he makes a go at president in the future, okay? Whether he gets it or not, I don't know, but don't be surprised. I would also look at him as another additional role in politics. But so he throat punched Robert Mueller so many times. Mueller basically is asserting that, hey, the Steele dossier wasn't in my purview. Yes, it was. And as Gaetz was pointing out, the only reason that this was even happening was because of the Steele dossier. So, of course, you have to look at the Steele dossier, especially since we have evidence that a Democratic operative in Steele and Glenn Simpson were meeting with Russians before and after the Trump meeting had happened. Nothing happened at the Trump meeting. It's just that the media keeps blowing it up to be a big deal. And I also want to remind everybody, because this has been left out of coverage today, okay? Mueller told the Department of Justice that he was not going to charge President Trump with any crime because he didn't have any evidence of a crime. Not once, not twice, 3 times, okay? 3 times.
And we've already got the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee sending out a fake news email. It's not news, I know that, but might as well use the term. A fake news email saying that Mueller said he would prosecute Donald Trump if he were not president. That is not what he said at all. And Mueller clarified that at the opening of the afternoon hearing, saying that that is not at all what he meant in the earlier line of questioning with Ted Lieu. So he did not say that at all, but the Democrats are still fundraising off of that in spite of the fact that it's not true. So I want to play for you, and a lot of people have mentioned that I should play this, and I think it's good as well. Representative Nunes and his full line of questioning with Robert Mueller. Rush Limbaugh kind of commented on this today that Mueller, he didn't appear to pay attention to anybody today except for Nunes. It was the only time he kind of perked up was actually looking at Nunes like, what am I getting hit with here? So I want you to listen to the full line of questioning again, about 5 minutes, from Representative Devin Nunes.
Thank you. Welcome, Director. As a former FBI director, you'd agree that the FBI is the world's most capable law enforcement agency.
I would say yes.
The FBI claims the counterintelligence investigation of the Trump campaign began on July 31st, 2016. But in fact, it began before that. In June 2016, before the investigation officially opened, Trump campaign associates Carter Page and Stephen Mueller, a current Trump advisor, were invited to attend a symposium at Cambridge University in July 2016. Your office, however, did not investigate who was responsible for inviting these Trump associates to this symposium. Your investigators also failed to interview Stephen Schrage, an American citizen who helped organize the event and invited Carter Page to it. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question?
Whether or not you interviewed Stephen Schrage, who organized the Cambridge.
Okay, in those areas, I am going to stay away from.
The first Trump associate to be investigated was General Flynn. Many of the allegations against him stem from false media reports that he had an affair with a Cambridge academic, Svetlana Lokova, and that Lokova was a Russian spy. Some of these allegations were made public in a 2017 article written by British intelligence historian Christopher Andrew. Your report fails to reveal how or why Andrew and his collaborator, Richard Dearlove, former head of Britain's MI6, spread these allegations. And you failed to interview Svetlana Lokova about these matters. Is that correct?
I'm not going to get into those matters to which you refer.
You had a team of 19 lawyers, 40 agents, and an unlimited budget, correct, Mr. Mueller?
I would not say we had an unlimited budget.
Let's continue with the opening of the investigation, supposedly on July 31st, 2016. The investigation was not opened based on an official product from Five Eyes Intelligence, but based on a rumor conveyed by Alexander Downer. On volume 1, page 89, your report describes him blandly as a representative of a foreign government. But he was actually a long-time Australian politician, not a military or intelligence official, who had previously arranged a $25 million donation to the Clinton Foundation and has previous ties to Dearlove. So Downer conveys a rumor he supposedly heard about a conversation between Papadopoulos and Joseph Mifsud. James Comey has publicly called Mifsud a Russian agent, yet your report does not refer to Mifsud as a Russian agent. Mifsud has extensive contacts with Western governments and the FBI. For example, there is a recent photo of him standing next to Boris Johnson, the new Prime Minister of Great Britain. What we're trying to figure out here, Mr. Mueller, is if our NATO allies or Boris Johnson have been compromised. So we're trying to figure out, Comey says Mifsud is a Russian agent, you do not. So do you stand by what's in the report?
I'd stand by that which is in the report and not so necessarily with that which is not in the report.
I want to return to Mr. Downer. He denies that Papadopoulos mentioned anything to him about Hillary Clinton's emails. And in fact, Mifsud denies mentioning to Papadopoulos. He denies that Papadopoulos mentioned anything to him about Hillary Clinton's emails. And in fact, Mifsud denies mentioning them to Papadopoulos in the first place. So how does the FBI know to continually ask Papadopoulos about Clinton's emails for the rest of 2016. Even more strangely, your sentencing memo on Papadopoulos blames him for hindering the FBI's ability to potentially detain or arrest Mifsud. But the truth is, Mifsud waltzed in and out of the United States in December 2016. The U.S. media could find him, the Italian press found him, and he's a supposed Russian agent at the epicenter of the purported collusion conspiracy. He's the guy who knows about Hillary Clinton's emails and that the Russians have them. But the FBI failed to question him for a half a year after officially opening the investigation. And then, according to Volume 1, page 193 of your report, once Mifsud finally was questioned, he made false statements to the FBI. But you declined to charge him. Is that correct? You did not indict Mr. Mifsud?
Well, I'm not going to speak to the series of happenings as you articulated them.
But you did not indict Mr. Mifsud.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
Pardon?
So you've heard Matt Gaetz, you've heard Devin Nunes. Both of them have brought about a bunch of Russians and a bunch of individuals who have, if the Russian conspiracy is true, committed crimes. And if the Russian conspiracy is not true, would have committed crimes. And the FBI wasn't bothered to interview them at all. And when they did interview one of them after, 7 months, they caught him lying and they didn't charge him with anything. Why didn't they charge him with anything? They charged everybody else that they said was lying to them with something. Why didn't they charge him? And all Mueller can do is I'm not gonna talk about why we did that. No, I won't speak to that. I won't tell you why that happened. I won't even acknowledge what the report says on that. Isn't that interesting? We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table
Oy.
Does your family or group meet regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve.
Did you guys lose the feed? Is that what happened?
Home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals, 5-day forecast.
This evening will be beautiful with temperatures in the upper 70s, but overnight we will cool down quick.
I didn't see any hiccups on my end, so
On Thursday, we're keeping the sunshine
y'all seem like you lost the feed somehow.
Humidity starts to increase on Friday with highs up to 83 and mostly sunny skies. And by Saturday, it'll be
Okay.
84 for our high.
Well, okay then.
Showers and storms and increased humidity. Sunday will be the hottest day of the week with 85 as our high.
And again, him not being able to comment outside of the scope of the report is normal. The problem is that he's not commenting on things that are in the report that we know. And for him to not answer those basic questions, that's what has people irritated, because he should be answering those questions. I mean, the report, doesn't, it mentions people, but it doesn't charge them, and that's all a part of the investigation. He won't talk about it. So.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith.
And the fact that you have all of these central people with this so-called collusion conspiracy not even being interviewed by the FBI, who Mueller was on record as saying was the most capable law enforcement agency in the world. And yet they didn't interview these people, who were key figures. Not ancillary figures, but key figures.
Call me at 574-294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant will pay me their rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
By the way, I realize that ancillary is not the right word to use. I'm tired and hungry. Starving. Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate it.
It's all about the fun. Sitting around the campfire with your wife in the evening, or with your kids, or taking that stroll on the beach, or having that private weekend that it really didn't cost you hardly any money, but you had a great time. My salespeople will spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out what they're wanting to do with an RV, where they're wanting to go, how they're going to use it, and we try to make it real. I don't like high pressure. I don't like having my arms twisted. I don't like all of the extra cost at the end. We quote a price. That's what it is. We don't play all the typical used car salesman games. Then, like I said, we do it right. Find us 2 miles north of the bypass on Highway 19 in Elkhart, or at internationalrvwholesalers.net.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Pacino. Does this sound familiar? You have a toothache, haven't been to a dentist in years, and money is tight. You don't want to be pressured into dental work you can't afford, and maybe you're embarrassed about the lack of past dental care. You don't have dental insurance and need help, but just don't know where to turn. At FDent, we can get you out of pain today. No one should have to live in dental pain. That's why FDent has an entire team dedicated to treating toothaches and dental emergencies. Stop in today, with or without an appointment, to receive the care you need, whether you have dental insurance or not. If cost is a concern, we can discuss payment plans that fit your budget. We're here to listen and provide the right solution to meet your needs. Don't wait to take care of your dental pain. Call 1-800-TOOTHACHE or visit FDent on Douglas Road in Mishawaka.
Poor Democrats.
Anytime's the right time with R&B Car Company. Here's why. Voted as Indiana's #1 and the nation's 7th largest independent volume dealer, R&B buys smart so you save money on every vehicle. See for yourself at rbcarcompany.com. No gimmicks, fast and friendly service, and the best deal bottom line.
The FDA has ordered a recall of breast implants for those of you who have boob enhancement. Roughly 500 cancer cases and a dozen deaths have been tied to certain breast implants. So if you've got some extra boobage, it's the Allergan implants.
More than just a maintenance. We come out biannually, spring, fall, do safety checks, cleaning, run carbon monoxide checks, and then throughout the season you get additional benefits. You get no overtime fees, discounts on repairs, and our priority scheduling.
Give Sun Services a call today, 574-271-5010. Your trusted, local, independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Discover your home's potential each Saturday morning on Measure Twice.
Oh, I need to reserve tables for you. I don't have any control over who goes to Noise. I can barely get in myself. Are you kidding me? It's in November. You've got plenty of time now. The moment you hear the announcement, I'm just going to say this, okay? Do not wait on tickets. It's in November. You're going to want to be there. I can't tell you any more. It's going to be awesome. Don't wait to get tickets. We think it's going to sell out quick, okay? So just be prepared. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. All right, I know it's not nearly enough time to devote to this, and I'm a little bit late, but I wanted to play you some of the sound bites from the Mueller thing today. All right, new reports. White police officers are not more likely to shoot minorities from Michigan State University, which, by the way, confirms previous studies that were done just a few years ago. More racial diversity in police departments will not reduce police shootings. By the way, police officers are more likely to be killed by so-called unarmed suspects than unarmed suspects are police officers, just so you are aware of the data. So again, white police officers in the United States are no more likely to shoot dead minorities than blacks or Hispanic officers, undercutting the idea that increasing racial diversity in police departments would reduce those shootings, according to a study that was released on Monday. And again, this is from Michigan State University and the University of Maryland at College Park. They published this jointly. There was a previous study that was done just a couple of years ago, which showed the exact same thing.
And what that previous study also showed was that black police officers were more likely to shoot black suspects than any other racial demographic. Now, that's, I should say, racial demographic of police officer, okay? Reports of racially motivated fatal shootings by police officers have garnered extensive public attention and sparked activism across the nation. New research from Michigan State University and University of Maryland reveals findings that flip many of these reports on their heads. White police officers are not more likely to shoot minority citizens than non-white officers. Until now, there's never been a systemic nationwide study to determine the characteristics of police involved in fatal officer-involved shootings, says Joseph Cesario. Now, the previous study primarily focused on the NYPD, okay? That's why they're saying this is the first nationwide study of this. There are so many examples of people saying that when black citizens are shot by police, it's white officers shooting them. In fact, our findings show no support for the idea that white officers are biased in shooting black citizens. This narrative that we have, that police officers, white officers in particular, are hunting down young black men, is a lie. Period. End of story. Anybody in the media who repeats it is lying to you. They never had any evidence for it. Any activist who repeats it is lying to you as well. The findings published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, or the PNAS, are based on an independent database Cesario and his team created that cataloged each police shooting from 2015. The team, led also by co-author David Johnson of the University of Maryland, contacted every police department that had a fatal police shooting to get the race, sex, and years of experience for every officer involved in each incident. The team also leveraged data from police shooting databases by the Washington Post and The Guardian. They actually reached out to every single department since 2015 who had a fatal police shooting and got the data themselves. And the data is crystal clear. It is a myth that white police officers shoot black suspects at higher rates than other police officers do. Ladies and gentlemen, Hannity is up next. Thank you for watching and for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Mark Young from Big C Lumber. Now is a great time to update and remodel your home. At Big C Lumber, you'll find the expert.
Oh, man.
Help you pick the right product. We have all the products you need. Doors, siding,
Misa hungry.
to name a few. Not to mention the area's most complete selection of lumber. Our cabinet experts will design your new kitchen or bath.
You're better than the make Jar Jar Binks quotes.
From the most recognized brand names in the industry, giving you more selection. And
no, we're not telling you who the extra special guest is. Super secret. I'm just telling you now that you're going to want to get tickets early, okay? So the moment you hear, buy them.
Experience friendly hometown service at Big C Lumber.
Thank you, Burroughs. I appreciate the Goog show. Thank you.
WTRC-FM and HD1.
Will do. Thank you, Susie. Mom. Fish. I appreciate it, Sam. Thank you, Al. Mike Pence. Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting, having the former governor and the vice president come in for a chat? Trey Gowdy, also interesting. Thank you, B-Dubs. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. So it's gonna be nice. I'm gonna hurt so bad the next day because we're doing fair food taste testing. Oh, my diet is not gonna be happy with me. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate you stopping by. All right, so I'm gonna try the credits real quick. Hold on. I forgot to do the credits. See if I can remember how to do it. Hold on. I should have been prepared for this, but I was not prepared for this. I always forget to do the stupid credits. Hold on a second. Doot. Roll credits. There we go. Hey, we got credits. Look at that. Look at that. There was way more people who subscribed during the show than that. So the credits are like not getting everybody. I don't know why that is. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And, of course, subscribe if you haven't already done so. I have got to get out of here because I do have to get home. I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to take care of today, including starting on making a holster for a customer. So you all have a wonderful night. Be safe, and we will see you tomorrow.